Chapter 181, A Symbol of Ability. Dark Pulse. Ash opened with Dark Pulse. Mega Absol inhaled condensed dark energy and fired it at Metagross. Lila issued a silent command, relying on Metagross's steel body to take the hit. Because she gave the instruction silently, by the time Ash reacted, Metagross was already in front of Mega Absol, barreling toward it. Comet Punch. Mental Blade, Ash shouted. Mega Absol howled, and a shadowy, ghostly giant claw formed on its horn, meeting Metagross's Comet Punch head-on. The ghostly claw shattered on the field with a crack, and Metagross used the momentum to send Mega Absol flying. "Absol, are you okay?" Ash called. Thanks to the forced dissipation from Shadow Claw, the hit wasn't fatal. Mega Absol staggered to its feet. "Good, Will-O-Wisp." Mega Absol howled, and dark purple flames flickered around its body. Several Will-O-Wisps darted toward Metagross, attacking it. Metagross responded by spinning and unleashing a bright flash cannon, forming a protective ring of energy that shattered the Will-O-Wisps. "Mental Blade!" Ash barked again. Mega Absol leapt in front of Metagross. Mental Blade surged along its horn and crashed down hard. An explosion rocked the field. Both Pokémon pulled back. "Night Slash!" Ash continued, and Mega Absol charged again, dark energy crackling on its foreclaws as it aimed to smash Metagross. Metagross swung its giant iron-like claws in a counterattack. The collision sent a gust of wind and dust across the field, and both Pokémon retreated to their trainers' sides. They were perfectly matched, neither able to gain the upper hand. Ash raised his voice. "Perish Song!" Mega Absol howled toward the sky. Perish Song's countdown began. Lila's expression tightened. "Agility, then Comet Punch," she commanded. Metagross accelerated and closed the distance with terrifying speed. Ash replied, "Double Team." Mega Absol multiplied into countless clones, dodging the flurry of Comet Punches. Dark Pulse. All the Absols focused their dark energy and fired. Metagross swung a sweeping flash cannon, shattering clone after clone until only the real Absol remained. The real flash cannon collided with the Dark Pulse. An explosion filled the air with smoke, engulfing both Pokémon. Lila, abandoning concern for stamina, unleashed one last desperate tactic. Rock Slide. Cover the field. Rocks began to rain across the entire battlefield. Perish Song was about to take effect. Time was running out. Ash commanded, "Swords dance and protect." A gust swept the smoke away, and Mega Absol stood at the center of a whirling wind. Swords Dance cut apart the falling boulders, and the fragments struck Mega Absol's protect barrier, minimizing the damage to the shield. Lila ordered, "Now, Comet Punch!" Metagross smashed into the protect and landed 2 heavy blows. Another giant rock slammed into the shield, and the protect finally shattered. Comet Punch followed, and a white globe of light hit Metagross. The impact sent Mega Absol flying. Absol's Mega Evolution ended midair. It crashed to the ground, unable to battle. "Metagross and Absol are both unable to battle," the judge announced. Ash and Lila had reached the final round. They smiled at each other and called together, "Go!" "I choose you, Pidgeot!" Ash shouted. Lila sent out Sylveon, the evolved psychic fairy of Eevee. Its aura was stronger than Metagross's had been. This was clearly Lila's true ace. But Ash's Pidgeot was no pushover. It had trained alongside Tyranitar, both pushing each other to the peak of the superior later stage. Tyranitar was on the verge of breaking through with Groudon's help. Pidgeot, for its part, had never found the breakthrough it needed, until now. "Quick attack," Ash ordered. Pidgeot beat its great wings and flashed like a white streak, colliding with Sylveon midair. Lila's eyes widened. Pidgeot's speed was incredible, almost rivaling extreme speed. "Dodge," she called. Sylveon nimbly leapt aside. "Air Cutter." Pidgeot spread its wings and sent razor wind toward Sylveon. "Iron Tail," Lila answered. Sylveon's tail gleamed metallic and smashed the incoming wind blades to bits. "Now, Zap Cannon!" A green electric orb condensed on the red gem of Sylveon's forehead and shot at Pidgeot. Ash didn't hesitate. "Brave Bird!" Pidgeot dove like a thunderbolt straight through the Zap Cannon. The collision exploded into a cloud of smoke and arcs of electricity plated across Pidgeot's body. The electric current seared through it, but Pidgeot grit its beak and pressed on. A bright divine bird silhouette flew through the smoke. Pidgeot had pushed itself beyond its limits. Lila flinched. The bond between Ash and his Pokémon was undeniable. They trusted each other completely. "Protect!" Lila threw up a shield, and it barely held against the onslaught. In that instant, it looked as if Pidgeot had opened something within itself. The energy that had been building surged, and it finally broke through to the superior peak. At the same time, far away at Professor Oak's laboratory, Tyranitar roared as it endured Groudon's relentless training, finally reaching the superior peak as well. Training there did not stop. Sceptile, Meganium, Typhlosion, Feraligatr, Noctowl, and Aggron all broke through to the gym peak. Donphan, Swellow, Krabby, Kingler, Blaziken, Manectric, and Torkoal reached the gym later stage. Beautifully, Tauros, and Muck, the gym middle stage, Snorlax, the superior later stage, and Melodic, the elite peak. Back in the stadium, Lila shouted, "Sylveon, Psybeam!" A multicolored beam shot from Sylveon's gem. "Dodge it, then Brave Bird with everything you've got," Ash urged. Pidgeot twisted in midair and evaded the Psybeam, then channeled its newfound speed and power into one devastating Brave Bird. It struck Sylveon with lightning-fast force. The attack hit. Sylveon crumpled. Sylveon is unable to battle. Pidgeot wins. "The winner is Ash," the announcer declared. Lila stepped forward and handed Ash the symbol of ability. "Take this. It's the symbol of ability," she said. With that, Ash earned his 6th frontier symbol and gained the right to know the location of the final battle facility, the Battle Pyramid. Eager, Ash turned to Atsushi. "Mr. Atsushi, where exactly is the Battle Pyramid?" Atsushi smiled and replied, "I've already sent the coordinates to Xiaosheng's Pokenav." Xiaosheng hurriedly checked his navigator and broke into a grin. "It's true. There's a new entry. The location is opposite Nibby City." "I didn't even know there was a battle pyramid near my hometown, Nibby City," Xiaogang exclaimed. Atsushi wagged a finger teasingly. "Only now," he said. Lila smiled at Ash. "Ash, the final frontier brain is very strong. You have to work hard. I'll be cheering for you." "Thanks, Leela," Ash said. They shook hands, waved goodbye, and set off toward Nibby City. Lila watched the right hand she had just shaken, and then placed her left hand over her own chest, touching it gently. Her cheeks flushed, and she thought silently, "Can you read my heart, Ash?" To be continued. Chapter 182, Meeting Hinata Again. A new Deoxys approaches. Heading for Nibby City, Xiaozhi's group planned their route and plunged back into the mountains. "Wow! Look! A flock of Swablu and Altaria!" Xiaosheng pointed up at the cloud-like birds drifting across the blue sky. But a purple-blue aurora traced the path of the Swablu and Altaria. "Look, the aurora! It's beautiful!" Xiaoyao cried first. Ash frowned. The scene felt familiar, and the sudden aurora in the mountains could mean only one thing. Pikachu's cheeks crackled with electric sparks. The Swablu and Altaria immediately became disoriented, breaking formation and veering off course. They were in danger of getting separated and tumbling down into the forest. At the same time, everyone's Pokeballs errored and became unusable. Even the multifunction navigator in Xiaosheng's hand flickered and failed. Something was wrong. Ash's gut tightened. A Deoxys was nearby. On the other side of a cliff, a familiar figure appeared, Pokémon Ranger Hinata, with her Plusly at her side. Xiaogang's eyes turned into hearts. "Long time no see, Miss Hinata. I'm Xiaogang, yours in body and soul," he gushed. "Officer Xiaoji, long time no see," Hinata responded, but she ignored Xiaogang's theatrics and instead greeted Ash. "If you want to chat, we can do that later. Right now we have to helping hand the Swablu and the others." She took out her capture styler and scanned the distressed Swablu. "I choose you," she called as she activated the device. A capture disc shot out at high speed, wrapped around an Altaria, and Hinata's styler flashed. "Capture complete. Altaria, use refresh." The Altaria chirped, bathed in a soft green light as its confusion lifted. "Return to the original route and guide everyone," Hinata ordered, and the Altaria immediately guided its flock back onto their course. "What's happening?" Xiaoyao asked. "There's a geomagnetic anomaly in this part of the mountains," Hinata explained. "It's getting worse. That's what affected the Altaria and the others. The aurora you saw was part of it." "Then why can your capture styler still work?" Xiaosheng asked. "Pokémon Rangers have to complete their missions under any conditions. Our capture stylers have extra protections so they can operate when normal Pokeballs can't," Hinata replied. Pikachu and Eevee both looked up. A blue light flashed on Ash. "They're here!" A purple ripple tore open the sky, and a spatial channel opened. A Deoxys with a purple core materialized briefly above them, a cold, lonely presence, nothing like Ash's little Rayquaza. Before anyone could react, the the space closed and the Deoxys vanished. Could it be? Hinata guessed, eyes narrowing. All these anomalies are caused by Deoxys. Ash still had an uneasy feeling. Then, without warning, two Deoxys appeared before them. Deoxys, Hinata said, grave. Ash waved his hand, smiling to ease the tension. Don't worry, Hinata. These are my Pokémon, Little Rayquaza and Green. What? Everyone exclaimed. Did you come looking for that other Deoxys? Take me to it, Ash told them. Little Rayquaza and Green nodded, then used teleport with Ash to vanish in a flash. Hinata and the others were left stunned. With no choice, the remaining group headed toward the nearest Pokémon Center to look for clues. Led by Little Rayquaza and Green, Ash arrived at a cave in the mountains. In the center lay a huge meteorite, clearly the focal point of the disturbance. Above it, space opened again and a Deoxys emerged. Dazed and influenced by the magnetic field, it lashed out with a psychic attack. Green shifted into defense form and raised safeguard around Ash. Celebi, I choose you. Ash threw the GS ball. Ordinary Pokeballs would be affected by the field, but the GS ball was immune. Celebi burst out of the ball with a cheerful chirp and circled Ash. A subtle elite aura seemed to shimmer off the Pokemon, making Ash's mouth twitch in disbelief. Celebi, use Heal Bell on that Deoxys, he shouted. Celebi flew up and chimed clearly, immediately restoring the Deoxys' senses. Little Rayquaza and Green stepped forward and communicated with it. The Deoxys had been drifting through the cosmos alone and was overjoyed to see companions. Ash, Pikachu, and Eevee waited quietly as the three finished their conversation. Then Little Rayquaza and Green turned to Ash and gestured toward the meteorite. It was the source of the magnetic disturbance. To stop the field, the meteorite had to be destroyed. Is that okay? Ash asked the Deoxys. It nodded. All right, Marshadow, handle it, Ash called. Marshadow punched cleanly out of Ash's shadow and struck the meteorite. Cracks spidered through it and it began to shatter. Little Rayquaza and Green teleported Ash out of the cave just as the magnetic storm collapsed. The crisis was over. Up in the sky, Little Rayquaza and Green conveyed their thoughts to Ash. They wanted to journey through Pokemon Planet with the Deoxys companion and search for others of their kind. Ash smiled. Go then. I promise to give you freedom. Welcome back anytime. This will always be your home. With that, Little Rayquaza and Green flew off with the Deoxys to begin their search. Ash wasn't too sad. He had a feeling they'd meet again soon, and besides, he hadn't released them. Their Pokeballs were still with him. To be continued. Chapter 183, Xiaoyao's Last Ribbon Medal. After saying farewell to Deoxys, Xiaozhi headed to the Pokemon Center to meet Xiaogang and the others. Hinata and Xiaogang's group had just learned from Nurse Joy about the 10-year-old meteorite and were about to take action when the magnetic field collapsed. They understood immediately that Xiaozhi had succeeded, so they waited for him back at the center. After reuniting with Xiaogang's group, Xiaozhi waved goodbye to Hinata and set off again. This time, they arrived in Hookwood Town for a gorgeous competition, and Nurse Joy told them it was the last one before the grand festival. The pressure returned to Xiaoyao at once. She gulped iced orange juice and slumped back against the table. What should I do? I'm so nervous. The pressure's killing me. Xiaozhi patted her back. What are you worried about? This last gorgeous competition is decent, but the real experts will have already moved on. With your strength, winning this is no problem. Don't forget, you already qualified for the grand festival in Hoenn. That cheered Xiaoyao up, though she still pouted. It's just if I lose, Xiao Shun and Harry will laugh at me. She hugged Xiaozhi tight and turned on the charm. Xiaozhi, you must help me. Don't worry, I'll coach you one-on-one. Xiaozhi beat his chest confidently. At that moment, a mischievous voice creaked. Xiao, Yao, long time no see, and a green cacturn popped up behind her. Ah! Xiaoyao jumped and then scowled. Harry! Harry stood, chuckling. Hello, Xiaoyao's boys' club, been a while. He couldn't resist showing off, spinning around to flash the 5 ribbons he'd already collected. Then he bowed theatrically and sauntered off. See you at the contest, I'll enjoy your defeat. Xiaoyao's blood boiled. Her fight returned tenfold. She dragged Xiaozhi off to train. Harry's taunt had replaced nervousness with pure irritation. Since Xiaoyao had used Blaziken in the first round and Squirtle in the second, Xiaozhi had Blastoise work on Squirtle's moves. Boosting technique could still make a difference even if raw stats wouldn't change, and coached Xiaoyao on Blaziken's performance, correcting weak points. A day of hard training later, her confidence rose significantly. Meanwhile, Harry did his own scheming. He cornered the Team Rocket trio. Musashi, Jesse, who had blown all the money the three earned at part-time jobs on makeup, was an easy recruit. Harry bullied and cajoled until Musashi agreed to be his disciple and lend him Pokémon for the contest. Harry even told her the reason for his grudge. When he was a child, he'd saved his favorite octillery sausage for last, only to have a little girl who looked a lot like Xiaoyao snatch it away. That petty memory became the seed for their anti-Xiaoyao alliance. Welcome, everyone. The passionate and gorgeous Pokémon contest, the Hookwood Tournament, is about to begin. Lillian announced. This is the final gorgeous competition before the Grand Festival. For coordinators with 4 ribbons, this is the most nerve-wracking round. Cheers erupted from the crowd as the first round of performances began. Coordinators took the stage in turn. Then Musashi stepped up, accompanied by a cacturn. Xiaozhi felt uneasy. Under his focused aura sense, he detected something off. 3 aura-emitting devices had been rigged to the metal frame above the stage. It was obvious cheating. If they're only using Pokémon for regular tricks, I'd let it slide, Xiaozhi muttered. But if they're rigging the stage, that's another matter. I'll be right back, he told Pikachu and Eevee, and slipped away. By the time the announcer realized he'd left, Xiaozhi was on the lighting rig above the stage. He had Pikachu discharge a single, controlled thunderbolt at the devices. The bolt struck the wires and instruments, frying the contraptions and the Team Rocket trio's earpieces, cutting off any external signals and leaving Harry with no way to coordinate his antics. Otherwise, Xiaozhi would have given him a proper scolding. By the time he climbed back down, Xiaoyao had already begun her routine. Under Xiaozhi's guidance, Blaziken's flame vortex had been refined and upgraded. First flames enveloped its body, then the vortex separated into a spinning column of fire, showing off the full charisma of a fire-type Pokémon. Blaziken then burst from the blaze with a sky uppercut that struck a flying disc and finished with a flipped million-ton kick that sent the disc soaring back. The crowd roared. The performance was flawless. Xiaoyao advanced. Her final opponent was Musashi. The decisive bout featured Xiaoyao's Squirtle against a Banette. Musashi had been lent. Squirtle used rapid spin to keep the pressure on, countering Banette's new bite attack, and in the end, Xiaoyao's strategy paid off. She won her last ribbon. All right, Lillian announced afterward. The Grand Festival will be held at the Indigo Plateau, everyone's familiar Pokémon League. Indigo Plateau, what memories? Xiaozhi said, thinking back. Though he hadn't attended the court's conference personally, this would be his first big league festival. Still, the Grand Festival was a month away. For now, his immediate goal was to challenge the Battle Pyramid, and Nibi City was close. As for Team Rocket, Musashi's loss left Harry furious. He declared the anti-Xiaoyao alliance dissolved on the spot. To be continued. Chapter 184, Nibi Gym Defense Battle, Doubles Showdown, Part 1. Xiao Gang, you still have the onyx you raised at the Nibi Gym, right? Xiao Sheng asked eagerly on the way to Nibi City. Xiao Gang nodded. And Geodude and Crobat, too. We haven't seen Ludicolo in ages either, Xiao Sheng added. This is really exciting. Xiao Sheng whooped. Xiao Gang smiled at the memory. At that moment, Xiao Yao, sitting beside him, chimed in. Hey, is Xiao Gang's mom also a great cook? True to form, Xiao Yao's mind never wandered far from food. Xiao Gang scratched his head awkwardly. Nope, my mom's the sort who'd rather be outside than do any housework. She's not cut out for staying home. Is that why you're so good at cooking? Xiao Yao teased. Xiao Gang sighed. Forced by circumstances, really. Nibi City was where Ash had taken his first badge, and Xiao Gang had been the first gym leader he fought. The gym had been simple back then, but now Ash and Xiao Gang both stopped short in disbelief. Even Pikachu cocked his head as if to ask, what happened here? The Nibi gym had become garish overnight. Colorful graffiti covered the once stern rock interior, and a huge red flower painted over the doorframe made the whole place look ridiculous. The gym's so flashy, Xiao Yao said, forcing a compliment. But Xiao Gang's face went purple with anger. What on earth is this? He stormed around the gym with the others and then led them to his house. As soon as they arrived, his 9 younger siblings poured out and clung to him, all with the same squinty eyes and similar faces, boys and girls alike. Xilang, Sanlang, Cizi, Wulang, Liuzi, Qizi, Bashu, Julang, Shizi. How's it going? Xiaogang asked, trying for calm. Good, they chorused. They really look like you, Ash and Xiaoyao remarked, but Xiaogang wanted answers about the gym. What's going on? Did something happen? Xilang, the oldest, stepped forward. Someone came calling himself a gym renovator and suggested redecorating the gym. One by one, the kids chimed in. Mom got excited. Dad hesitated at first, but when Trainer magazine put the Nibby gym last in its gym popularity taste ranking, Dad got fired up. He accepted whatever the so-called renovator proposed. The gym got weirder and weirder. Big brother Xiaogang, you have to protect the gym, Xilang said. Please, Xiaogang nodded. Okay, I get the picture. So where are Mom and Dad now? Well, Xilang looked sheepish. They won an invitation for a one-day trip to the Southern Islands. They went to enjoy it. Mom's really excited. She says it's because they do good deeds. Xiaogang felt the blood drain from his face. You can't be serious. They left at a time like this? We didn't mean to cause trouble, Xilang protested. When Mom and Dad are gone, you have to help look after everyone. Worse, Musashi and Kojiro were somehow involved, and even Xiaogang's Ludicolo had been taken along to carry the luggage for the renovators. I brought Ludicolo to help with the bags, a voice said. Bye-bye. I'll bring back souvenirs. Xiaogang was furious. All right, you can't just redo a gym with tradition like ours. And why take Ludicolo? Renovation? Remodeling. Xiaogang's mom had apparently insisted over the phone. You're so old-fashioned, she said before hanging up, leaving Xiaogang staring at the disconnected call in disbelief. Xilang led Ash and the others to inspect the inside of the gym. Rocks that once felt solid and dignified were now covered in garish paint. What is this gym popularity taste ranking? Xiaogang barked. How can the value of a gym be measured by something so shallow? As expected of Big Brother. That makes a lot of sense, Xilang admired. I read almost every issue of Trainer magazine and never saw a column like that, Xiaosheng added. Those so-called gym renovators are definitely suspicious, Ash agreed. They entered the battle arena and were met with a chilling sight. A giant Steelix reared and charged, its body twisting toward them. Xiaoyao and Xiaosheng flinched and flung themselves behind Ash. Before anyone could react, Steelix lashed its tail and wrapped Xiaogang up in a coil. This feeling of being bound, Xiaogang muttered, and then realized, this is my Steelix. Around him, his old teammates, Geodude, Golem, and Crobat gathered. Xiaogang smiled despite himself. You all look great. He glanced at Xilang with a proud look. Xilang, did you evolve Steelix? Xilang beamed. Xiaogang praised him without hesitation. Well done, you've raised them well. But the gym itself made the Pokémon uncomfortable. The Pokémon don't like it either, Xilang said, and Steelix and the others rattled in agreement. Back at the house, Xiaogang began preparing lunch. No sooner had they finished eating than 2 familiar voices shouted at the door. Is anyone there? Coming. Xiaogang opened. Xilang pointed at the visitors, Musashi and Kojiro. Ash's aura confirmed what he already suspected. Team Rocket, he said, persistent as ever. You're against the renovation, Musashi said with a smirk. Xiaogang bristled. Since you know that, then stop the work immediately. Impossible, Kojiro replied. We have pride. We see a job through to the end. That's our motto. Ash's mouth twitched. Do you even have a motto? Musashi and Kojiro sang each other a few more pompous lines and finally revealed their terms. How about settling this with a match? It's a gym, after all. A Pokémon battle will decide it. If you win, we stop the renovation, Meowth added. If we win, you have to give up. Musashi spoke the condition. A double battle, 2 Pokémon, 2 trainers. Ash looked hard at the Pokeballs in their hands. This was where their confidence lay. He turned to Xiaogang. Xiaogang, I'll fight with you. Xiaogang's face softened. Ash. Okay, I accept your challenge, Xiaogang said. To be continued. Chapter 185, Nibby Gym Defense Battle, Doubles Showdown, Part 2. Xiaogang, this is for you, Ash said, pressing a small item into Xiaogang's hand. He leaned in and whispered, they're Team Rocket. Don't hold back. Xiaogang stared at the object in disbelief. This is too valuable, he blinked. Team Rocket? All of them? It wasn't that Xiaogang underestimated them, Team Rocket had never beaten him in a fair fight, but the situation made sense now. Team Rocket had tricked his parents away, leaving the gym in the care of 9 kids. The gym's Pokémon would have been easy targets. The plan might have worked if Ash and his friends hadn't returned so fast. Ash pointed at the Pokeballs in the intruder's hands. "See those? There's something off about them," he said with a laugh. "We're brothers, right? You defend your own gym." "I understand, brother," Xiaozhi said, smiling and nodding. "Starting now, the double battle between the gym remodeling team and the pewter gym defenders will begin." Xilang, Xiaozhi's younger brother, acted as referee. Xiaozhi took his position, holding a Pokeball with the calm, commanding presence of a gym leader. "Go, Steelix." "I choose Charmeleon." Ash sent out his Pokemon. "Steelix and Charmeleon? I wonder what the opponents will send out," Xiaozhi said, leaning over the railing. "Come out, Aggron," Musashi called. "It's up to you, Charizard." Kojiro replied. Musashi and Kojiro threw their Pokeballs. 2 large Pokemon burst forth, Aggron and Charizard. Their presence alone made it clear they were no ordinary Team Rocket Grunt's Pokemon. Ash suspected these weren't the trio's usual partners. "Aggron and Charizard, what a powerful combo," Xiaozhi admitted, suppressing his earlier contempt. "Begin. Go, Mega Evolution," Xiaozhi shouted, producing a keystone. Ash had given him the keystone and a megastone for Steelix. The bond flared. A bright white light flashed and Steelix transformed, becoming a towering Mega Steelix with large, colorful crystals embedded along its body. "Steelix evolved again," Xilang exclaimed. "Mega Evolution. Steelix can Mega Evolve," Xiaozhi cheered. Musashi wasted no time. "Charizard Flamethrower." They knew about Mega Evolution from the battle competition arena, and they trusted the Pokemon Giovanni had provided. This Charizard's fire was intense, but Ash wasn't worried. "Charmeleon, take it and be reborn in fire." Charmeleon sprinted forward and let the flames engulf him. "Yeah, got one," Musashi crowed, prematurely. The fire was absorbed by Charmeleon and channeled into raw strength. Blue and white evolution energy enveloped him as wings sprouted. Charmeleon erupted into Charizard, larger and more powerful than Musashi's own. "Go, Charizard. Show them a real flamethrower," Ash ordered. "Steelix, Iron Tail on Aggron." Ash's Charizard, now bolstered by the Phoenix Fire and shimmering rainbow wings, unleashed a flamethrower of near-elite level intensity. Mega Steelix charged, tail raised. "Charizard, Flamethrower!" Musashi shouted. "Aggron, Mega Punch!" Kojiro answered. The 2 teams clashed head-on. Ash's Flamethrower overpowered Musashi's and knocked Charizard out of the ring, while Mega Steelix's Iron Tail pinned Aggron to the ground. Seizing an opportunity, Meowth slunk toward the Pokemon to steal them, but Pikachu and Eevee had been ordered by Ash to guard against just such a trick. They intercepted Meowth, pinned him, and dragged him toward Xiao Yao and Xiaosheng. "Meowth," the kids yelled. Musashi and Kojiro, realizing they'd been exposed, dropped their disguises. "Satoshi, we're not letting you off this time. Hand over Pikachu and the others." "Then try and take them," Ash shot back. "Steelix, Iron Tail." "Fire Blast," Charizard answered. Mega Steelix smashed Aggron aside with a tail swipe as Ash's Charizard roared a massive fire blast. "Aggron, Water Pulse," Kojiro called. Aggron formed a water orb midair to counter, only for the fire blast's extreme heat to vaporize it, and the force of the blast knocked Aggron out. "Charizard, Flamethrower." Musashi tried a sneak attack, but Ash's Charizard spun and unleashed a flame vortex, absorbing Musashi's Flamethrower and trapping Musashi's Charizard within the spiraling inferno. Mega Steelix surged in, wrapped Charizard in crushing coils, and exhaled a cyan dragon breath that finished it off. Their teamwork had been flawless. "Their coordination is amazing," Xiaosheng breathed. "All right, time to send you packing," Ash clapped. Eevee understood instantly and flicked its tail, flinging the trapped Meowth back toward Musashi and Kojiro. Pikachu dashed forward and let loose a thunderbolt that blasted Team Rocket into the sky. Boom! They screamed their usual lamentations as they rocketed away. "What a nasty feeling! Sonance, Mum Jr." And the ordeal was over. It turned out the Aggron and Charizard experience cards Team Rocket had were actually meant for Yamato and Kosaburo, but Delibird had botched the delivery and taken them back. The travel vouchers they'd used to trick Musashi's parents were worthless too, leaving the trio with nothing but debt. In short, the pewter gym crisis was resolved. The next stop would be the final battle facility, the Battle Pyramid. 3 days later, after Xiao Gang's parents returned and he'd given them a stern lecture about their irresponsibility, Ash and his group set off for the Battle Pyramid. To be continued. Chapter 186, Battle Pyramid, Pokelantis Ruins. Guided by Xiaosheng's navigator, Xiaozhi's group arrived at the forest outside Nibi City. "Brother-in-law, the Battle Pyramid is nearby," Xiaosheng called, eyes wide as he clutched the navigator. Ash looked up and nodded. Ahead, through the trees, a black peak jutted out from the dense woods. "There it is, the Battle Pyramid." Xiaosheng was even more excited than Ash. He sprinted forward, then missed a step and tumbled. "Ah, Lucario!" Ash cried, pulling out the hero's token. In an instant, Lucario flashed, extreme speed carrying him into the small pit. He vaulted up the rock face, snatched the falling Xiaosheng, and set him down safely. "Are you okay?" Xiao Yao shouted toward the hole. "Princess, brother-in-law, I'm fine. Lucario saved me," Xiaosheng answered. "Mr. Xiaoji, there's a human aura signal ahead." Lucario's voice echoed in everyone's minds. Following Lucario's lead, a person in hiking gear stepped into view. At the sound, he turned and looked straight at Ash and the others, fixing his gaze on Lucario. The man was impressed. This Lucario's power felt stronger than his Regirock and the others. To think a group of kids would have such powerful Pokémon. "You must be the frontier brain of the Battle Pyramid," Ash said, extending his hand with a friendly smile. "I'm Ash from Pallet Town. Nice to meet you." "My name's Kikuyo," the man replied. Seeing how strongly Lucario registered and how Lucario deferred to Ash, Kikuyo didn't underestimate him. "Mr. Kikuyo, we came to challenge the Battle Pyramid," Ash announced. Kikuyo nodded. "I see. With Ash's strength, clearing the first 6 battle facility floors should be easy, but I'm sorry, the frontier battle will have to be postponed." "Is it because of these ruins?" Ash asked, curious. "What kind of ruins are these?" Kikuyo's face grew serious. "This place used to belong to a powerful empire that tried to conquer the world with the legendary Ho-Oh." Xiaosheng raised his hand. "I've heard of them. That empire was called Pokelantis," Kikuyo finished. "The Pokelantis Empire angered Ho-Oh and was destroyed for it. One day it vanished from history. They say the king of Pokelantis, in his rage, sealed Ho-Oh inside a stone sphere and hid it here to take revenge." "Sealed Ho-Oh?" Ash and the others exchanged puzzled looks. Ash had seen Ho-Oh not long ago. How could there be another one sealed here? Marshadow, crouched in Ash's shadow, looked puzzled too. There was no Ho-Oh presence here to sense. Seeing their expressions, Kikuyo tilted his head. "What's wrong?" "We've already seen Ho-Oh," Xiao Yao said, "and Ash was even recognized by Ho-Oh as the Rainbow Hero." "You've seen Ho-Oh?" Kikuyo exclaimed, thinking for a moment. "Then maybe there's more to this legend than it first seemed. Let's go find out." With Lucario's aura and Kikuyo's knowledge of the ruins, they made their way deeper. In an open chamber, they found an enormous door with 4 circular recesses, clearly requiring something to open it. Kikuyo guessed, this must be the king's chamber. Ash felt something tugging at him and unconsciously reached out. At that moment, the massive door yawned open and pulled him inside. Before anyone could react, the door slammed shut. "Ash!" Xiao Yao and Lucario rushed to the door and pounded on the stone, but it didn't budge. "Marshadow!" Xiao Yao called frantically. There was no reply, and for a moment they feared the worst. But it seemed Marshadow had gone in with Ash. If Marshadow was with him, Ash would be safe. Under Kikuyo's guidance, they searched the chamber for another way in. Inside, torches flared to life one by one, banishing the darkness. Just as Kikuyo had suspected, they had entered the king's chamber. A vast throne dominated the room, and perched atop it was a statue of the king of Pokelantis, grimacing and grotesque. Ash snorted, "He's ugly," and wandered over to a regular-sized throne at the foot of the giant one. On it sat a stone sphere. Curious, Ash picked up the sphere. It trembled in his hands. "O light, come forth from the darkness," a hoarse voice intoned, and the sphere pulsed with an odd purple glow. At that instant, the large door opened, and Xiao Yao and the others hurried in. "Ash, are you okay?" Xiao Yao asked, worried. "Don't worry, I'm fine," Ash called back, but a wisp of black mist drifted out of the stone sphere and lunged for Ash. "Watch out!" Marsha, 2 ghostly hands reached for the black gas and clutched it. Marshadow stepped out from Ash's shadow, solid and real. "It really is Marshadow. The The Guide of Shadows, Kikuyo said in surprise. The black mist thrashed under the ghostly grip. It was the king of Pocahontas's soul, the very ambition that once drove the empire. For a ghost type like Marshadow, dealing with such a spirit was not difficult. The hands tightened, and the black essence was crushed. Through Lucario, Marshadow relayed what had happened, and everyone finally understood. The stone sphere had not sealed Ho-Oh at all, but the king's own soul and his obsessive will. Kikuyo nodded and immediately shifted back into business. The battle pyramid uses 4-on-4 battles, right? Let's have a warm-up match first, then I'll go all out. He added, giving Ash an unexpected bit of information. My last 3 Pokemon are Registeel. I understand, Ash said, and then asked, can I switch out my Pokemon? No problem. I have a PC inside my pyramid. Kikuyo replied, to be continued. Chapter 187, Battle Against God. Age before the battle pyramid, Atsushi had been waiting for a long time. Hey, you're finally here, he called out. Mr. Atsushi. Everyone greeted Ash as he arrived. Good afternoon. Ash smiled. Kikuyo, your opponent today will be tough. Kikuyo nodded. I'm looking forward to the match. Atsushi was surprised. He had not expected the usually proud Kikuyo to acknowledge Ash so openly. He turned to Ash. Ash, there's only one obstacle left before you conquer the battle frontier. Keep it up. Yes, Ash replied, and together they all entered the battle pyramid. The final showdown began. When they reached the top, the spire opened, giving space for flying-type Pokemon. The referee for the match was Kikuyo's disciple, Sutaro. Now, let the Pokemon battle begin. Challenger Ash from Pallet Town, please step forward, Sutaro announced. Ash took his place in the challenger's position. Next is my master, the passionate, mature frontier brain of the battle pyramid, the Pyramid Pharaoh Kikuyo, Sutaro declared. This match is a 4-on-4 elimination battle, he explained, but only the challenger may switch Pokemon freely. Frontier Brain, please bring out your Pokemon first. Kikuyo didn't hesitate. She threw a Pokeball. Go Dusknoir. A powerful Dusknoir materialized on the field. Ash answered at once. I choose you, Snorlax. Snorlax! The Pokemon rumbled onto the battlefield. A normal type against a ghost type made for an intriguing contest. Each had immunities to the other's primary attacking type. Snorlax charged first. High horsepower, Ash shouted. The guaranteed hit high horsepower struck hard. Snorlax lunged, its massive body seeming to flare with intensity as it bore down on Dusknoir. Kikuyo calmly countered. Ice Punch. Dusknoir's fist shimmered with a cold aura and met Snorlax head-on. Bang! Boom! An explosion rocked the field, smoke billowing out everywhere. Ice Punch again, Kikuyo ordered, then added, Thunder Punch. The two powered-up punches collided, splitting the smoke. Lightning and frost flashed from their fists as they crashed in the center. Eventually, both Pokemon pulled back to their trainers. Use Future Sight, Kikuyo commanded. Ash responded, then Brick Break. Dusknoir launched a spectral light bullet into the sky, then came down hard on Snorlax. Snorlax answered with Crunch, sinking its powerful jaws into the incoming attack. High horsepower, Ash cried again. Snorlax delivered a heavy blow, sending Dusknoir flying. Snorlax, use Belly Drum, Ash shouted. Snorlax. Snorlax slammed its big belly, sacrificing half its HP to maximize its attack stat. Clearly, Ash wanted to finish the fight quickly before Future Sight struck. Heavy Slam, he added. Snorlax. White light enveloped Snorlax as it charged full force at Dusknoir. Kikuyo barked, Rock Tomb. Dusknoir smashed the ground and jagged rocks erupted, but Snorlax's powered-up Heavy Slam smashed through the stones and struck Dusknoir down. However, at that very moment, Future Sight came crashing down and engulfed Snorlax. Snorlax! Snorlax screamed and collapsed, knocked out of the fight. Dusknoir and Snorlax are both unable to battle, Sutaro announced. Warm-up match is over, Kikuyo said, her aura sharpening as she brought out more of her strength. Go Regirock! I choose you, Pikachu, Ash called. Pikachu hopped forward, hopping onto the field and staring down the rock golem. Atsushi watched, surprised and excited. He hadn't expected the tiny Pikachu on Ash's shoulder to be at elite level. Ash finally sent out Pikachu, he said. But I didn't expect Kikuyo to answer with Regirock. Mr. Kikuyo said she would use all of the Regiline in this match, Xiaogang explained. Atsushi's eyes lit up. So that's why. Ash really did make her bring out her full strength. Ash opened the battle with his usual tactic. Thunderbolt to start, he called. Pika! Chew! Golden electricity crackled from Pikachu's body. Kikuyo's expression remained composed. Iron defense, she ordered. Regirock formed a hardened shell and shrugged off the first thunderbolt. Regirock, use Stone Edge, Kikuyo countered. Regirock slammed the ground and jagged, blue-lit stones shot toward Pikachu. Ash fired back. Iron Tail. Pikachu leapt, its metal tail gleaming, shattering the incoming rocks. Electroweb followed by glittering thunderlight, Ash shouted. A sheet of electric webbing flashed, and before Kikuyo could react, Pikachu darted behind Regirock. The glittering thunder flared, and a golden bolt engulfed Regirock. Kikuyo was taken aback. So fast, so strong, she breathed. Then, she gathered focus and called, Earth Power! Regirock drew up raw Earth Power and dispelled the lightning, launching a counterattack at Pikachu. Double team, Ash ordered. Pikachu multiplied into dozens of shimmering clones. Earth Power scattered a few of them, but many swarmed around Regirock. Use Earthquake, Kikuyo ordered. Regirock stamped the ground hard, sending tremors that shattered most of the nearby Pikachu clones. Ash responded instantly. Surf! With a roar, a giant wave rose under Pikachu. Faint arcs of electricity danced within it. The tidal surge hurled Regirock through the air. Regirock staggered back to its feet. Use Stone Edge! Kikuyo gritted, but Regirock froze. Electricity crackled across its rocky form. Kikuyo had fallen unlucky. Surf had a 30% chance to paralyze, and this time, Regirock was struck by that paralysis. Since that's the case, Ash grinned. Pikachu, let's finish it. Iron Tail! Pikachu! Pikachu dashed forward, its iron tail slicing like steel. The blow cleaved through Regirock, which crashed to the ground, unable to battle. Regirock is unable to battle. Pikachu wins, Sutaro declared. Is this the power of Ash and Pikachu? It's unbelievable. Xiaozhi cheered, and everyone nodded in agreement. Regirock had barely had a chance. Pikachu's speed and the light ball-boosted special attack had made it perform beyond a legendary foe. Electric light danced across Pikachu's body as it rose into the mid-elite level, an increase that made Ash beam. Well done, Pikachu, he praised. Come back, Pikachu, Ash called. Pikachu! Pikachu saluted and returned to Ash's side. To be continued. Chapter 188. Dominate the Battle Frontier. Next is you, Kikuyo barked, flinging a Pokeball. Go all out, Registeel. The steel pillar Registeel materialized in a shower of metallic light. I choose you, Charizard, Ash called. Charizard roared and breathed a column of fire into the sky, glaring at Registeel with fierce determination. Atsushi's eyes widened. Another elite Pokemon. This young trainer's talent was astonishing. The elite tier had ended the dreams of so many, yet Ash, so young, already commanded 2, possibly 3, elite Pokemon. Regis still waited on the field. Unless something unexpected happened, Ash would soon add another. Flamethrower, Ash shouted. Charizard's flames, already empowered by the 7-colored Phoenix Flame, burned unlike ordinary fire. Where orange should have been, a golden inferno roared, radiating blistering heat that felt like a powerful fire-type move. Kikuyo's face turned serious. Zap Cannon! He ordered. Registeel gathered electric energy with alarming speed. The Zap Cannon it fired was no weaker than an electric-type attack, a clear sign Kikuyo was taking this match seriously. The Golden Inferno collided with the crackling Golden Zap Cannon in a massive explosion. Smoke filled the arena, and through it flickered golden sparks and arcs of electricity. So strong! Shouted Atsushi and the others. When the blast wind died down, Kikuyo's excitement showed. Ash, your strength is impressive. Battling you exceeds my expectations. It won't be easy to take the symbol of bravery, he added in a low voice. Lock on. Registeel fixed its gaze and produced a red targeting ring that locked onto Charizard. Neither Ash nor Charizard flinched. Zap Cannon! Kikuyo barked. Flame Dragon Claw! Ash answered. Charizard's foreclaws ignited in golden flame as it drew them through the air. A massive emerald dragon claw, wreathed in fire, swept down toward Registeel. In response, Registeel condensed a golden electro ball and hurled it with a thunderous boom. Charizard slammed its blazing claws together and ripped the Zap Cannon cleanly in two, shattering the attack mid-flight. Kikuyo's pupils shrank. Measuring power now blurred the line between who was legendary and who was not. Counter with Metal Claw, Kikuyo ordered. Registeel formed enormous metal claws and struck Charizard's flame-imbued Dragon Claw. The collision sent both Pokemon flying through the smoke and slamming to the ground before their trainers. Use Ancient Power. Kikuyo seized the moment as Registeel recoiled. Registeel formed a massive slab of rock and hurled it at Charizard. Slash! Ash snapped. Charizard let out a roar. White light shimmered across its hands as it descended on the flying boulder with a clean, brutal cut. The rock shattered. Charizard, go all out. Finish it! Ash barked. Blast Burn! The full force of Blast Burn, magnified by the golden flame, was devastating. Kikuyo did not underestimate it. Use full power Zap Cannon, he replied. Registeel gathered a golden Electro Ball to meet the inferno, but Blast Burn blazed through the Zap Cannon and engulfed Registeel entirely. Registeel is unable to battle. Charizard wins, the announcer declared. Charizard exhaled a plume of golden fire in celebration. Ash grinned. Well done, Charizard. The tension's off the charts, Xiaogang laughed. Next is the last one. Kikuyo and Ash recalled their Pokémon and simultaneously sent out their final Pokeballs. Ash's ball was an Ultra Ball, which made Atsushi lean forward with curiosity. Ash had used 3 Ultra Balls in total already. Xiaogang and the others had a guess as to why. This is the last one. Go, Regis, Kikuyo ordered. I choose you, Articuno, Ash replied. A flurry of ice filled the battlefield as 2 legendary ice types faced off. Atsushi stared at Articuno in surprise. He hadn't expected Ash to have another legendary Pokémon. Hail, Ash called. Though Hail affected neither ice type directly, Articuno's Snow Cloak would raise its evasion in Hail. Kikuyo realized Ash had a plan. Ash wouldn't waste a move. Heavy hailstones pelted the arena, battering the ground and making the surface treacherous, though they had little effect on the 2 legendary birds. Regis, use Psybeam, Kikuyo ordered. Regis fired an ice-blue Psybeam that, aided by the hail, turned into sharp ice pillars and crashed toward Articuno. Dodge, Ash answered. Articuno, at home in the sky, weaved through the pillars easily. Triple Axle, Ash continued. Articuno darted in and struck Regis 3 times in rapid succession, forcing the golem to back up repeatedly. Kikuyo remained unreadable, as if accepting a plan had already been set. Regis, use Psybeam on the whole field. Regis ignored Articuno's attacks and swept Psybeam across the arena. Under the assault and the pounding hail, the battlefield froze over into a slick ice field. So that's it, Ash said, surprised but intrigued. Articuno triple axle. Too late. Kikuyo laughed. The stage is set. Regis, dodge! Regis slid across the ice, nimbler than before, and avoided Articuno's blows. Xiao Sheng's eyes widened. Its movements are faster because the floor is iced over. Kikuyo crossed his arms, smiling. Speed had become the deciding factor. Landing a hit would be difficult. Ash paused, then his eyes lit up as he watched the hail beat down. He had an answer. Articuno, increase the power of the hail, he ordered. Kikuyo frowned. At first glance, the move seemed pointless. But the hail intensified, growing heavier. Though it still did nothing direct to the 2 ice types, the frozen ground became riddled with pits and bumps from the heavier hailstones. Steel Wing, Ash called. Articuno swooped low and let its wings flash with a metallic sheen. Regis tried to slide out of the way, but the uneven, pitted ice tripped it up, and it fell. Articuno slashed through the stunned Regis. Kikuyo's face changed as realization dawned. He understood Ash's setup. Ash didn't waste a move for nothing. Ash waved his hand and shook his head at giving Regis any chance. Now, Articuno, lock on. The moment Articuno used lock on, Kikuyo's jaw tightened. He gritted his teeth, anticipating a guaranteed finishing move. Use full power, Blizzard, he shouted. Spin and strike. Brave Bird combined with Steel Wing. Ash countered. In Ash's strategy, lock-on would have ensured the accuracy of an intended sheer cold, if not for the rule that sheer cold doesn't affect ice types. So Ash pivoted. He amplified Articuno's assault, combining the charging force of a Brave Bird-style strike with the piercing metallic edge of Steel Wing. Articuno surged forward, body flaring with intense light. Its wings gleamed, and it dove through the blizzard, spinning violently. It smashed into Regis clean through the icy storm. The collision detonated in a huge explosion that shook the battlefield. When the smoke cleared, Regis lay battered and motionless. Regis is unable to battle. Articuno wins, the announcer called. Therefore, the winner is the challenger, Xiaozhi. Sutaro took a deep breath and declared the match result. Kikuyo stepped forward and smiled, extending a hand. Ash, I am thoroughly convinced. This is the symbol of bravery. Thank you, Ash said with a sincere smile as he accepted the symbol. He had finally collected the last frontier symbol. He had conquered the battle frontier. To be continued. Chapter 189, Psychic Awakening. Giant Slaking? Congratulations, Ash. Atsushi smiled as he handed Ash the certificate for conquering the Battle Frontier. Now that you have all the symbols, you are officially in the Battle Frontier Hall of Fame. Ash accepted it. Thank you. This challenge was a great experience for me. Atsushi hesitated, then added, Ash, I hope you'll consider joining us as a Frontier Brain someday. Becoming a Frontier Brain would have meant staying put and giving up his travels, something Ash couldn't do. He thought for a moment and shook his head. I'm sorry, but I still want to explore more places. I want to meet new people and have different Pokémon battles. Xiaogang nodded. This was the Ash he knew. Seeing his resolve, Atsushi sighed but smiled. I understand. That's a shame, but you'll always be welcome. Kikuyo stepped forward and grinned. Ash, if the chance ever comes up, let's have another exciting battle. No problem, Ash replied. All right, Ash's frontier journey is over, Xiao Yao announced, upbeat. Next up is our grand festival. After saying goodbye to Atsushi and Kikuyo, Ash and the others went to the nearby Pokémon Center by the forest to rest for the night before continuing their journey. Everyone also remembered what Atsushi had said. The battle pyramid had actually flown away, a sign of how much he valued Kikuyo. It was clear he had gone to great lengths for her. Ding. Obtained the symbol of bravery. Reward, 5,000 points. Achievement unlocked. Conquered the battle frontier. Reward Psychic Awakening. Ash's eyes lit up when the system announced the rewards. This frontier run alone had earned him 35,000 points, not counting the points from ordinary battles. The elite battles, especially against each legendary titan, had contributed a large share. The final reward, Psychic Awakening, was exciting. Teleportation and confusion control were extremely useful abilities for traveling trainers. Does the system have a psychic cultivation manual? Ash asked eagerly. He expected the system would give the awakening, but not the instructions. He'd have to figure that out. After all, he only reached his current aura level because Lucario had guided him. Ding, yes, manual available. Price, 10,000 points. Ash's face fell. The system was a shrewd merchant. Everything had a price. 10,000 points for the manual was a lot, almost enough for a special evolution stone. But he gritted his teeth and paid. After downloading the manual, he breathed a sigh of relief. It was detailed enough, not a total ripoff. At the same time, the Psychic Awakening reward activated. Ash felt a seed plant itself in his mind, taking root and sprouting. A vast mental force pressed against his consciousness, making him dizzy. He followed the meditation steps in the manual to control the turbulent influx of psychic energy, silently glad he had redeemed the manual first. Without its guidance, tonight would have been rough. By morning, Ash had scarcely slept, but he felt refreshed. A faint blue glow flickered in his eyes. He lifted his hand, and a cup on the table hovered into his palm. Ash smiled. After a night of training, basic telekinesis was no problem. Teleport and flight were still far off, but if he mastered teleport and combined it with his aura, the possibilities would be incredible. After meeting with Xiaogang and the others, the group planned their route. They weren't far from Pallet Town, but the Grand Festival was coming up quickly. Ash abandoned the idea of going home and chose the fastest route to Indigo Plateau. Stop! Don't run! Stop right there! Someone shouted from the mountain path. They turned to see several Ipom racing down the trail, each carrying stolen berries. An older man chased them, calling desperately. As they reached the group, the Ipom leapt over them. One grabbed at Ash's hat, even throwing a water bottle aside in its haste. A blue light flashed in Ash's eyes, and he grabbed the Ipom, holding it tight. Pikachu, Eevee, don't let them run! Pika, Eevee! Pikachu and Eevee leapt down to stop the Ipom. Pikachu unleashed its elite aura. The Ipom froze, dropping their berry sacks and covering their heads. The one in Ash's arms, however, squirmed and kept trying to reach for his hat. Thank you so much. The man finally reached them and breathed a sigh of relief. He hurried forward. Uncle, what's happening? Ash asked, still holding the struggling Ipom. He'd kept it by his hat because that one seemed fixated on stealing it. The man sighed and explained. His name was Taylor. He managed the nearby berry fields. The Ipom lived on the mountain and had always taken a few berries now and then. Lately, though, all the fields had been stripped. Trees were ruined and every berry was gone. Ash knelt and stroked the Ipom's head. "Can you take us to see your mountain god?" he asked. Led by the Ipom, the group climbed to the mountaintop. There they found Meowth and Awabuf collecting tributes from Pokémon like Vigoroth and Mankey. Behind them stood a Slaking, enormous, about 10 meters tall. Is that a Slaking?" Xiaozhi asked, stunned. "It's huge. Look at the way those Ipom are acting, they're terrified," Xiaoyao added. Under Ash's aura, the Slaking didn't feel like a real Pokémon at all. It felt artificial. The shape was too mechanical. Lucario's senses ticked immediately. "Team Rocket," someone muttered. Ash smiled at the Ipom. "Don't be afraid. I'll show you what it really is." "Lucario, go," Ash ordered. "Yes, Ash." Lucario stepped forward. Because he could sense aura, he saw through the Slaking's disguise. He charged an aura sphere and fired. The sphere slammed into the giant Slaking and tore a large hole in its side. At the same instant, a flash of quick movement, Pikachu's quick attack, struck the mechanical beast as well, revealing gears inside. "What? A robot?" someone exclaimed. Musashi and Kojiro, Team Rocket, appeared, watching in shock as their illusion was destroyed. "It's a robot, Team Rocket," several voices shouted. "As expected, it's you causing trouble again?" Xiaoyao scolded. Musashi put on a theatrical sniff. "Little girl, don't say that. We were only trying to collect some berries to make energy cubes. They'll sell like hotcakes on Indigo Plateau." The wild Pokémon on the mountain, having realized they'd been duped into offering tribute to a machine, surrounded Team Rocket with hostile intent. Team Rocket visibly gulped and blustered, then cried out, "Satoshi, help! Sonansu!" Wabufet chimed in reflexively, but it was clear they were on the defensive. Ash rubbed his forehead. "Pikachu, send them flying." Pikachu nodded and with a thunderous Pika-Chu unleashed a massive thunderbolt that blasted Team Rocket off their feet and sent them blasting away. "This isn't over," Musashi and Kojiro wailed as they rocketed into the distance. To be continued. Chapter 190. A grand celebration with a fierce rival. Ash had successfully dealt with the rampaging Slaking and returned all the stolen berries to Taylor. That Ipom, it seemed, really liked Ash's hat. It had lain on his head, then plopped the hat onto its own. It wasn't until Ash's group descended the mountain that Ipom finally left the hat and wandered off. What they didn't know was that after saying goodbye to its companions, the Ipom had followed them all the way. Xiaoyao peered down at the town below, spreading her arms and cheering. "I see it! We're finally at Indigo Plateau." "Indigo Plateau. It feels nostalgic," said Xiaogang, staring at the renovated arena below. Ash nodded too. Indigo Plateau was where he'd first entered a league conference, the place where his journey toward becoming a Pokémon Master began. Xiaosheng cut through the nostalgia with a teasing tone. "Brother-in-law, stop living in the past. This time it isn't the Pokémon League, it's the Pokémon Contest, the Grand Festival." Ash didn't hesitate. He playfully punched him. Xiaoyao, however, was fired up, her competitive spark ignited. "That's right, I know I can win this time." She was brimming with confidence. In the moment, she even felt she could beat Ash. "Hello, everyone. Finally, starting tomorrow, the long-awaited Pokémon Contest, the Quartz Conference of the Grand Festival, is about to begin. I'm the lovely Musashi Suzueru, bringing you live coverage," rang a cheerful voice. The Team Rocket trio had arrived at Indigo Plateau before Ash and had volunteered to do the live broadcast. Aside from their infamous attempts to steal Pikachu, Team Rocket somehow managed to excel at everything else too, including broadcasting. Musashi was surprisingly competent and meticulous. With the prestige of the Grand Festival, they could have chosen dozens of seasoned hosts, yet Musashi was the one on stage. "Coordinators who've won conferences across Kanto and earned 5 ribbon badges have gathered here at Indigo Plateau," Musashi announced. "The atmosphere is electric. Everyone's busy making final checks on their Pokemon's health for tomorrow's preliminaries." Ash watched them from a distance and shook his head. As long as they didn't cause trouble, he didn't intend to get involved. Ash and Xiaoyao submitted their ribbon badges and registered for the contest. Ash entered 5 Pokemon, 2 Butterfree, Gardevoir, Melodic, and Jigglypuff. Xiaoyao registered Blaziken, Munchlax, Squirtle, Eevee, and Melodic. "I'm sorry, Xiaoyao. I really can't get away to come cheer for you," Mitsuko said apologetically over the phone. That's okay. Parents are busy. I understand, Xiaoyao replied. I'll feel your cheering waves from Hoenn. Mitsuko spread her palms theatrically as if sending energy. Xiao Sheng and Xiao Yao both made exasperated faces. I think the thought is enough, Xiao Sheng muttered. A pair of slender hands then tapped Ash and Xiao Yao on the shoulders, and a gentle voice said, Hi, everyone. Surprised, Ash turned around. It was his mother, Delia. Mitsuko, Delia greeted warmly. Ash, long time no see. I'm here to cheer for you this time, too. Professor Oak and Xiao Jian were with her. Since the court's conference is starting, Xiao Xia is extremely busy, so she asked me to come and cheer for you, Xiao Jian explained. Mitsuko, don't worry, Delia said to Ash's friend. I'll cheer for both children, and for you too. She pushed Ash and the others aside and chatted with Mitsuko, both of them smiling. As they finished their calls, the IPOM that had followed them leapt down from a high window into the hall. Ah! Everyone cried in surprise. The little IPOM darted through the crowd toward Ash, or more precisely, toward his hat, clambering along with 5 or 6 coordinators' hats piled on its head. Ash recognized it instantly as the hat-loving IPOM. The commotion livened the entire hall. Ash stepped forward to stop it and scooped the IPOM up. Little guy, you can't be causing trouble here, he scolded gently. The IPOM smiled and nodded. Ash carefully removed the hat stacked on its head. I'm really sorry. Please take these back, he told the gathered coordinators. They accepted the apology and let it go. The IPOM didn't seem to mind. With a flourish of its tail, it grabbed Ash's hat and plopped it on its own head, chattering happily. What a cute little monkey. Ash, is this your Pokémon? Delia asked as she came over and picked the IPOM from Ash's arms. The IPOM curled into her embrace, turned its head, and made a silly face at Ash. He could only shake his head helplessly. It's wild, he admitted. Then please keep an eye on it. Everyone's kind of on edge right now, Xiao Shun said as he stepped forward. Hearing that, Xiao Yao grinned. So you're nervous too, Xiao Shun? Xiao Shun, of course, couldn't admit it. He tossed his hair proudly. Don't lump me in with you. At that moment, a woman approached, a princess-like figure with pale red hair and a slowbro at her side. Xiao Shun froze for a beat when she smiled and said, Xiao Shun used to be the nervous one. The slowbro's wise eyes and the aura around them made it clear she was no small opponent. She looked like a serious rival for the festival. To Xiao Gang's delight, she seemed familiar. My goodness, is this Miss Saori? He blurted. Miss Saori smiled. You're the pewter gym leader, aren't you? Her home had been near the pewter gym, and Xiao Gang had once tried to get close. She remembered him distinctly. Seizing his chance, Xiao Gang stepped forward with a grand flourish. That's right. I am Xiao Gang. I'm traveling to become the world's top Pokémon breeder. Since fate has brought us together again, might you spare a moment to talk privately with me? Miss Saori laughed gently. I'm sorry, I have something to do. Perhaps another time. With a graceful smile, she walked past him toward Xiao Shun. The effect was instantaneous. Xiao Gang went pale, and Heartbreak Spinda leapt out and hugged him. Long time no see, Xiao Shun, Miss Saori said warmly. Miss Saori, I've been looking forward to seeing the Pokémon you've raised, Xiao Shun managed, and he turned to take Roselia with him. He warned Xiao Yao as he left. Xiao Yao, she's tough. Nice to meet you, Ash, Xiao Yao. I've heard Xiao Shun speak of you often, Miss Saori greeted them. From her words, it became clear she had ambushed Xiao Shun in the final stage of his debut gorgeous competition. They had met several times since, and a connection had formed. To be continued. Chapter 191. The celebration begins. Preliminaries passed. Good morning, everyone around the world. The festival of love between Pokémon and coordinators, the Pokémon contest, the long-awaited grand festival, the courts conference, is about to begin. Lillian kept the crowd fired up. This time, 270 competitors have gathered here, all vying for the honor of becoming a top coordinator. The winner will receive this luxurious ribbon trophy and join the ranks of top coordinators. She held the ribbon trophy up for everyone to see. 270 contestants, more than at the Hoenn Grand Festival, meant the competition would be bigger and fiercer than ever. Besides the 2 familiar uncles on the judging panel, the judges included a Nurse Joy representing all the Nurse Joys of Kanto, the Nurse Joy from Rainbow City, and a special guest judge, Lillian's protege, Vivian from Hoenn. Xiao Gang's eyes turned to hearts as he gushed. Two sisters on the same stage. How wonderful. In these preliminaries, each contestant could use only one signature move, making every performance tense and decisive. Because of the large field, the preliminaries were divided across 2 stages, each with 3 Nurse Joys scoring. The 4 judges would then select 64 contestants to advance to the main competition. Lillian and Musashi would host the 2 stages respectively. "Hello everyone, I'm Musashi Suzueru," Musashi called, her energy matching Lillian's. "This place is buzzing. Are you all hyped up?" The audience cheered. Lillian smiled. "Great, that raises the temperature of the venue. The preliminaries, Charm Showcase stage, is about to begin. Don't miss the moment when the Pokémon your coordinators are most proud of shine. Here we go. Go." The preliminaries officially began. Contestants stepped onto the stage one by one to perform. This year, the Grand Festival stage had been upgraded. Beneath retractable partitions were water fields suitable for water-type Pokémon. Soon it was Xiaoyao's turn. "Blaziken, take the stage." Xiaoyao pulled out the pink frisbee she'd used in her first performance and launched it into the air. Blaziken, Sky Uppercut. As her starter Pokémon, Blaziken moved with seamless coordination. It sprinted across the stage, sparks flying, leaped up to catch the frisbee and shattered it with a powerful uppercut. Xiaozhi looked at Xiao Shun and smiled. "Her and Blaziken's movements are so sharp. I can see why you care about her, Xiao Shun." Indeed, Xiaoyao had grown from a rookie into a coordinator who could stand on her own. Ash beamed at her progress. Even Lillian couldn't help but comment, "I wasn't expecting Sky Uppercut to produce sparks. At first, I thought she'd use a fire-type move, but that fighting-type finish was beautifully executed." Next contestant, Miss Saori from Pewter City. On Musashi's stage, it was Xiaozhi's turn. Xiaozhi stepped onto the floating platform in the water field and released a Pokeball. "Lapras, let's go." Xiao Shun, who knew Xiaozhi well, introduced her to Ash and Xiao Yao. "She's using Lapras, her longtime partner. It must be a high level by now." Lapras landed with a splash, then unleashed a chilling aura. Sheer cold, ice-blue frost radiated from Lapras. The splashed water around it froze instantly, spreading until the pool became a gleaming sheet of ice. A huge ice flower bloomed across the stage, perfectly showcasing Lapras's majestic charm. "Amazing!" Xiao Yao exclaimed. "Miss Saori is just as impressive as ever." It was clear Xiao Shun had always admired Miss Saori. Xiao Yao couldn't resist teasing him. "I heard you cried when you lost to Miss Saori once, Xiao Shun? Are you trying to mess with me?" Xiao Shun replied, half embarrassed, half amused. "I had no choice. I just trained like a fool back then." Next, Ash and Xiao Shun performed simultaneously on the 2 stages. Ash went to Musashi's side, while Xiao Shun took Lillian's. Xiao Shun's masquerade danced a simple, unadorned silver wind, graceful and pure. Musashi watched closely as Ash sent out his Jigglypuff. "Jigglypuff, I choose you," he called. "Sing," Ash urged. Jigglypuff grabbed a tiny microphone and began to sing. Sweet notes swirled around as it danced, presenting the cute melodic charms of Jigglypuff to everyone. Xiaozhi watched with respect. Ash really is strong. No wonder Xiao Shun values him so highly. Xiao Yao smiled proudly. Her man was powerful, but she wasn't going to give up either. "Okay, the next contestant is..." Musashi paused when she read the prompt. The name on the list was none other than her one-day teacher, Holly Shansheng, Harry. He appeared wearing a black cloak. On stage, he dramatically tore it away to reveal an outfit identical to Xiao Yao's. "Hello, everyone. I'm the naughty angel Harry," he announced. Xiao Yao nearly slid off her chair in shock. Ash looked like he wanted to grab Harry and shake him. Xiao Shun shivered at the sight. Musashi subtly signaled that Harry had just stolen more attention than she had. Xiao Yao covered her face in embarrassment. Xiaozhi eyed Harry's costume and laughed. "Looks like Harry is trying to win this by cosplaying Xiao Yao." Xiao Yao blinked. "You know Holly Shansheng too?" Xiaozhi grinned. "That man is special. I like him." Harry sent out a bonnet. It glowed with a ghostly blue will-o-wisp that formed a pale, eerie face around the Pokémon. Bonnet let out a hollow, haunting laugh. The performance captured Bonnet's spooky personality perfectly, but the whole Xiao Yao cosplay angle had Xiao Yao furious. Okay, the Charm Showcase stage for the 270 contestants has ended. The 64 contestants who scored highest and will advance to tomorrow's main competition are these, Lillian announced. After the judges' scores were tallied, photos of the 64 qualifiers flashed across the big screen. As expected, Ash and his friends all made the cut. To the 64 coordinators advancing, tomorrow's main competition, the first preliminary round on the performance stage, give it your absolute best. That's all for today. Everyone, you worked hard. Lillian declared the preliminaries officially over. To be continued. Chapter 191, Catching IPOM, the main competition begins. Ash and Xiaoyao returned to the group to a round of congratulations. Ash, Xiaoyao, that was wonderful. I got so many great shots, Delia said, raising the camera with a smile. Just then, IPOM bounded up to everyone. It flicked its tail. Several little stars appeared, which it chased and shattered, the sparkling fragments scattering beautifully. Wow, it's so graceful. This IPOM is a natural performer, Xiaoyao exclaimed. Xiaozhi and Xiaoshun, standing nearby, nodded in agreement. Accepting the praise with a pleased chuckle, IPOM suddenly leaped up, snatched Ash's hat, and bolted out of the crowd. Ash sighed but didn't mind. He chased after it with Pikachu and Eevee, playing along. Shortly after, Harry, wearing Xiaoyao's outfit, swaggered over, tossed out a few taunts and a challenge, then strode off. If Ash had been there, he would have taught him a lesson. Ash chased IPOM to an open patch of grass. IPOM flicked its tail, returned the hat to Ash, and grinned. Ash reached out, reclaimed his hat, and put it back on. "Little guy want to battle for a catch?" Ash asked. IPOM's tail twitched as if to accept. Ash didn't hesitate. He threw a Pokeball. "Beedrill, I choose you." Beedrill buzzed out, rubbing its twin stingers. IPOM struck first, swinging its tail. A flurry of glowing stars, swift, swept toward Beedrill. "Beedrill, use Swords Dance," Ash ordered. A swirl of phantom blades appeared around Beedrill and spun, cutting through the incoming Swift and blocking it. Startled, IPOM clenched its tail into a fist and glowed white as it charged forward. "Focus Punch!" Ash's eyes lit up. This little monkey was really something. Before he could call another command, Beedrill's twin stingers flashed. One met the Focus Punch head-on while the other struck from the side, sending IPOM tumbling. "Go, Pokeball!" Ash threw, but IPOM stubbornly sprang back up and knocked the ball back into his hand. Ash laughed. "This little guy's stubborn. I like that. Beedrill, finish it. X-Scissor." Beedrill crossed its stingers in a blur of green light and slammed into IPOM, knocking it down again. Ash threw his Pokeball one more time. This time, IPOM didn't resist and was successfully caught. Type Mental Strength, Superior Early Stage. Moves, Swift, Focus Punch, Double Team, Scratch. Dynamax Type Normal. Ash retrieved the Pokeball and sent Beedrill back. Although Professor Oak and Xiaojian had come to watch, staff from Oak's lab were still on duty. Ash opened the ball. IPOM popped out, clambered onto his head, plunked the hat atop its own head, and smiled happily. Ash helplessly pulled it down into a hug. "IPOM, you like performing, don't you? Want to enter the main competition with me tomorrow?" he asked. IPOM nodded eagerly. Ash re-registered it for the contest. "Good morning, everyone. Hope you rested well," the announcer called. "Today's pace will be fast, so please keep up." Now beginning the official competition, the first review, the performance stage. Our first performer is the young noble from LaRousse City, Xiaoshun. Unlike the Hoenn Grand Festival, where performances went in reverse preliminary order, Xiaoshun was up first, an energetic start. He sent out Absol, which began with a brilliant flare from its forehead. Under that light, Absol's pure white fur shimmered spectacularly. Lillian praised the performance. That's the result of combining a practiced move with a beautiful physique. It's very difficult to keep Absol's fur that pristine, but Xiaoshun pulled it off, Xiaozhi added. Xiaoyao nodded in agreement. Absol then summoned a whirlpool of water that surged around it before it finished by dispersing the vortex with a sweeping whirlwind blade. Next up, the Green Beauty, Mr. Harry, the announcer declared. Harry was back in his regular outfit. His performance featured an octillery that danced through a curtain of fire, launching Fire Blast in a fiery display that looked roughly like a grilled octopus act. The crowd reacted with mixed amusement and surprise. Miss Saori followed, performing with the Slowbro seen earlier. Using Psychic, she made Slowbro float, then pivoted it on the large shell of its tail, like a figure skater. It spun elegantly across the stage, spraying water gun in a spiraling vortex that left the audience awed. "This is outstanding," Slowbro delivered a beautiful water dance with amazing balance, Lillian praised. Miss Saori is definitely a tough contender, Xiaoyao murmured to Ash. Xiaozhi agreed. Miss Saori looked like a strong candidate for the finals. I'm even more excited for the second review, he said. Harry nodded in agreement. Now from Hoenn, the dancing princess, Miss Xiaoyao, Lillian announced, introducing Xiaoyao with the title Fengyuan Dance Princess. Munchlax, take the stage, Xiaoyao called. Munchlax, heavy and clumsy, did a surprising mid-air somersault and slammed onto the stage. Then it unleashed Solar Beam, opening its mouth wide to gather sunlight into a huge, brilliant ball of light. Use Focus Punch, Xiaoyao commanded. To everyone's surprise, Munchlax bounced high enough to soar over the solar beam, then brought its fist down in a glowing blow that shattered the beam. Points of light scattered across the stage, and a clear, pleasant bell tone resonated through the hall. That's incredible, using Focus Punch to break Solar Beam, and that sound filled the entire venue, Lillian enthused. And now, the announcer continued, the winner of the previous Hoenn Grand Festival, Ash from Pallet Town. The crowd roared with applause and cheers. To be continued. Chapter 193, the debut match of the long-tailed monster, Xiaoyao's fateful duel. Ipum, I choose you. Ash tossed a Pokeball into the air. Ipum dropped from the sky, did a flip, snatched Ash's hat and plopped it onto its own head, then raised its hands excitedly as it landed. Ipum, the crowd cried in surprise, not expecting Ash to have caught an Ipum. But was it really all right to enter a performance contest with a brand new capture? Ash looked at the hat-wearing Ipum and shook his head with a helpless grin. Ipum, it's time to perform. Double team. Ipum instantly grew serious and split into several clones. Spin and use Swift. The Ipum clones spun and fired off Swift at the same time, forming a dazzling ring of shooting stars. With a practiced flick, the real Ipum guided the star rings to converge toward the center, leapt into the heart of the spiral, and began playing tricks among the glittering lights. The starbursts collided, and all the clones vanished. Now use the final Focus Punch. Ipum sent the star circle soaring, then flicked its tail and leapt above it. The hand on its tail glowed white as it smashed through the circle. Sparkling starlight drifted down as Ipum landed balanced on its tail, waving happily. The audience erupted in cheers and applause. As expected of Ash, such instant synergy with a newly caught Ipum, Xiaoshun said approvingly. Xiaozhi and the others nodded. It had clearly been an on-the-spot routine, but it was perfectly executed. Ash's quick thinking and Ipum's talent both shone through. With that, the first round of judging for the performance stage concluded. All the coordinators waited as the judges prepared to announce the results. All right, it's time to announce the results of the first round, performance stage. Lillian's voice rang out. From the 64 coordinators, the 16 who will advance to the second round, the Grand Festival Battle Competition, are. Photos of the 16 advancing coordinators flashed on the big screen. Ash and his friends were all among them. Next, we will reshuffle these 16 contestants to determine the battle pairings for the second round, Lillian announced, tapping the screen. The contestants were reshuffled. Ash, Xiaoshun, and Xiaozhi drew different opponents, but fate paired Xiaoyao and Harry together again. Harry brought out his ace Cacturn and an unfamiliar Wigglytuff, the evolved form of Jigglypuff. This Wigglytuff wore a fierce expression that contrasted sharply with Ash's sweet Jigglypuff. Still, Wigglytuff's sturdy defense paired with Cacturn's offense gave Harry a strong opening, pressing Xiaoyao's Munchlax and Eevee back. But in the end, they couldn't match Xiaoyao's tactics. Eevee and Munchlax teamed up to take down Cacturn. Then an updraft from a collision of Solar Beam and Shadow Ball sent the airborne Wigglytuff tumbling out of control. Munchlax used Eevee as a springboard, launched into the air, and finished the bout with a decisive Focus Punch. Harry was eliminated. After Xiaoyao's match, the others' battles progressed smoothly. Ash wiped his opponent aside with 2 Butterfree without much trouble. Okay, for the second round, fighting for the top 4, the first match is Mr. Xiaoshun versus Miss Xiaoyao. Go, Princess. Xiao Sheng cupped his hands like a trumpet and cheered loudly. It was a rematch. Xiaoyao had narrowly beaten Xiaoshun in the last Grand Festival. Could Xiaoshun take revenge? Here we go. Blaziken, Squirtle, take the stage. Flygon, Absol, go. Xiaoyao launched a blitz right away. Squirtle used Rapid Spin to press the attack, while Xiaoshun countered with Flygon's Sandstorm. Blaziken and Squirtle combined into a powerful million-ton kick. Blaziken using Squirtle's spinning shell as a springboard to leap over the sand and strike at Flygon. Xiaoshun reacted quickly, sending Absol into the Sandstorm to use Flash and dazzle Blaziken. The battle became a fierce back and forth, full of creative combinations. Xiaoshun's Dragon Breath and Whirlwind Blade link-ups versus Xiaoyao's Flame Vortex and Bubble Fire and Water interplay. The crowd roared with every exchange. Squirtle managed to get behind Flygon with Rapid Spin and knocked it out with Psybeam, but Absol landed a crushing Iron Tail that defeated Squirtle in turn. Now both sides had lost one Pokémon. With 2 minutes left, Blaziken and Absol faced each other, each determined to decide the match. Xiaoshun, the real match starts now. Let's see who wins, Xiaoyao called out, pointing. Xiaoshun smoothed his hair and smiled. Bring it on. Blaziken, respond to my heart. Mega Evolution. Xiaoyao activated the keystone on her bracelet. Shock registered on Xiaoshun's face. He hadn't expected Xiaoyao to have another trump card. A glowing stone appeared on Blaziken's chest. Their energies synced, and a brilliant white light flared. Mega Blaziken burst into being. Mega Evolution again! Xiaoyao's Blaziken has entered Mega Evolution. Will this tip the scales? Lillian's commentary electrified the arena. Princess has activated Mega Evolution. Xiaosheng cheered. Go, Princess! Go, Blaziken! Blaziken, use Flame Kick! Xiaoyao shouted. Mega Blaziken launched into the air and drove a blazing flame kick at Absol. Iron Tail, Xiaoshun barked. Absol charged, white energy crackling on its tail, and met the flame kick head-on. Whirlwind Blade! Xiaoshun cried, and at the same time, Xiaoyao called, Flamethrower. Absol spun and swept with a scythe-like strike, unleashing a razor wind, while Mega Blaziken shot out a pillar of orange fire. The wind blade and the fire column slammed together in a thunderous explosion. Both Pokémon staggered back in front of their trainers. Water Pulse, Xiaoshun ordered as soon as he recovered. A surging column of water shot toward Mega Blaziken. Blaziken, bounce, Xiaoyao countered. Mega Blaziken sprang up, evading the water pulse. Full power, Flare Blitz, Xiaoyao shouted. Mega Blaziken, high above the field, set itself aflame and dove toward Absol with overwhelming force. Xiaoshun gritted his teeth and yelled, Whirlwind Blade, then full power Iron Tail. Absol swung its horn and cut a massive wind blade toward Mega Blaziken. At the same instant, its tail began to glow fiercely for Iron Tail. Mega Blaziken's flaming descent incinerated the wind blade, but then collided with Absol's charged Iron Tail in a cataclysmic impact. The blast filled the arena with smoke and dust. Everyone held their breath as the haze settled. When the smoke cleared, Blaziken had reverted from Mega Evolution and stood facing Absol. Then, with a soft thud, Absol collapsed, unable to battle. The clock showed 20 seconds remaining. Xiaoyao had won. The crowd exploded into applause for the brilliant match between the two coordinators. Yay, I won! Xiaoyao cheered, hugging her arms around the exhausted Blaziken. Thank you, Blaziken. Blaziken smiled and nodded in acknowledgement. Delia quickly snapped a photo of the triumphant scene. In the lounge, Xiaozhi looked at Ash and smiled. Xiaoyao has really grown up. Ash nodded. It was obvious to everyone how much she'd matured. The Kanto journey was drawing to a close, and their time together was nearly over. Ash felt reluctant to part with Xiaoyao, but she had her own path to follow. She couldn't rely on his help forever. The stage of the Fengyuan Dance Princess was only the beginning. To be continued. Chapter 194, The Final Showdown, Mega Melodic returns. In the lounge, Xiaoshun approached Xiaoyao with a smile. Your combination was stunning, especially the final Mega Evolution. You too, Shun, Xiaoyao replied, smiling back. That match was incredible. Xiaoshun waved a hand. The important thing is the result. Losing makes it all meaningless. Soon Ash and Xiaozhi finished their quarterfinals and joined the semifinals with Xiaoyao. Ash had easily dispatched his opponent using Jigglypuff and Ipom, leaving just 3 of them and 1 other contestant. That meant 2 of them would inevitably face each other in the semis. When the pairings were announced, Ash had the luckiest draw and faced the remaining outsider, while Xiaoyao was matched against Xiaozhi. Don't underestimate her, Xiaoshun warned Xiaoyao in the lounge. Xiaozhi won't be beaten by brute force alone. At that moment, Ash was already fighting his semifinal. He used two Butterfree, whose synergy in doubles was extraordinary. His opponent put up a fight. Anyone who made the semis had skill, but the two Butterfree coordinated perfectly. With a final solar beam from both butterflies, they overwhelmed the opponent's lone Mantine. Mantine lost its ability to battle. Ash wins, Xiaoyao beamed. Ash became the first finalist. He walked off the stage, taking Xiaoyao's hand. Cheer up, Xiaoyao. Give it everything. Even if you lose, make it a match you won't regret. Xiaoyao squeezed his hand and nodded, eyes wet. Xiaoyao and Xiaozhi's semifinal began. Xiaoyao sent out Blaziken and Melodic, her Hoenn-trained aces, now very powerful. Xiaozhi countered with Slowbro and Pidgeot. Right away, Xiaoyao went for Mega Evolution. Super Blaziken burst forth. But despite the boost, the match was brutal. 3 minutes in, Xiaoyao's points were nearly gone, while Xiaozhi still had over half hers left. Super Blaziken was being completely suppressed by Slowbro, and Pidgeot held the aerial advantage. Xiaoyao was on the brink. Blaziken, Flamethrower, Melodic, Hydro Pump, she cried, hoping to turn the tide with their fused fire and water attack. Pidgeot responded with Feather Dance, cutting their offensive power down, and Slowbro followed with Yawn. Drowsiness overtook both of Xiaoyao's Pokémon, and Xiaozhi closed the gap to take the remaining points. Xiaoyao was eliminated after the toughest path of all, battling Harry, defeating Xiao Shun, then losing to Xiaozhi. She finished in the top 4. Off stage, Xiaoyao threw herself into Ash's arms and sobbed. I'm sorry, I still lost. Ash rubbed her back. You did your best. There'll be a next time. Xiaoyao nodded through her tears. They were joined in the hallway by Xiao Gang, Xiao Sheng, Ash's mother Dahlia, Professor Oak, and Xiao Jian. Dahlia held Pikachu, Eevee, and Ipom. They chirped encouragement. The final, Ash vs. Shi, officially began, and Xiaoyao and the others cheered from the audience. I choose you, Gardevoir. Melodic, Ash called. Vivian, serving as a judge, recognized both Pokémon, Ash's performers from the Hoenn Grand Festival, now matured into his aces for the gorgeous competition. I'm counting on you, Slowbro. Lapras, Xiaozhi replied, fielding her reliable pair. She wasn't taking Ash lightly. Ash activated his Mega Ring, and the world's only Mega Melodic shimmered into being. How beautiful, Xiaozhi admired. Even more stunning after Mega Evolution. Then we'll go on the offensive. Future Sight, Disarming Voice, Ash ordered. Gardevoir raised a hand, launching a pink orb into the sky, while Mega Melodic began to sing. Disarming Voice, a guaranteed hit, swept the field and struck both Lapras and Slowbro, immediately chipping away at Xiaozhi's score. Hydro Pump, Xiaozhi countered. Slowbro and Lapras each unleashed colossal jets of water. Their spiraling torrents combined into a force far stronger than a single Hydro Pump. The torrents surged toward Mega Melodic and Gardevoir as the two of them stood their ground. Gardevoir stepped in front of Mega Melodic to shield it. When the waters struck, they dispersed against Gardevoir, leaving it completely unharmed. Xiaozhi's expression froze. What is this? Water Absorb? Your Gardevoir's ability is Trace, Ash nodded. He knew his own Pokemon's data well enough to expect Trace would copy an opponent's ability if the opportunity arose. Gardevoir had traced Water Absorb, and it was perfect against two Water-type foes. Teleport, Dragon Pulse, Ash commanded. Gardevoir teleported away as Mega Melodic unleashed a Dragon Pulse at Slowbro. Psychic! Slowbro retaliated, sending out a powerful Psychic wave that twisted the Dragon Pulse. But Gardevoir teleported behind Slowbro, creating an opening. Oh no, Lapras, Psybeam! Xiaozhi called desperately. Dragon Tail! Ally Switch! Ash answered calmly. Mega Melodic's tail flared with dragon energy, and Gardevoir used Ally Switch, trading places with Mega Melodic. The tail flick sent Slowbro directly into Lapras's Psybeam. Slowbro froze solid. Future Sight, which had been building, finally descended from the sky and struck the frozen Slowbro, knocking it out of the battle. Lillian commentated, Melodic and Gardevoir's coordination is impeccable. The two Pokemon's teamwork took care of Xiaozhi's Slowbro. Xiaozhi made one last gamble. Lapras, sheer cold, she declared. Lapras filled the stadium with a chilling, freezing aura that covered the field and rushed toward Mega Melodic and Gardevoir. Teleport! Gardevoir and Mega Melodic vanished and simultaneously used confusion to float their opponents midair. Hyper Beam, Thunderbolt, Ash ordered. Mega Melodic unleashed a shimmering hyper beam laced with fairy-like energy, and Gardevoir followed with a crackling thunderbolt. The attacks alternated and struck Lapras in full force. Overwhelmed, Lapras lost the ability to battle. Lapras is unable to battle. The winner has been decided. Congratulations to Ash for winning the Quartz Conference at the Grand Festival. Xiaoyao stared in disbelief, then cheered. That's amazing, Ash won. The crowd roared as Ash's victory was confirmed. On the stage, awards were readied. Now the conference will present the Ribbon Cup to the winner of the Quartz Conference, contestant Xiaozhi, the announcer called, though it was Ash who had emerged victorious. To be continued. Chapter 195, Alliance Mission, Rescue the Forest Ranger, Dingwan Kanto Grand Festival Champion, Reward 50,000 points. So, the dazzling Grand Festival has come to an end. There's a celebration banquet tonight. Let's cheer until the last moment. The Kanto Grand Festival ended with Ash taking the Ribbon Cup. Congratulations, Ash, Professor Oak said as he walked over. Oh, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? Ash asked, curious. You helped Ranger Hinata twice before, didn't you? The Ranger Union thinks very highly of you, Professor Oak said. He paused, then continued. A ranger nearby has run into trouble. When they found out you were in the area, the Union asked for your help, on the authority of Lance. You'll get a reward, of course, Oak added. Ash thought for a moment and nodded. He'd just finished his Kanto journey and had no pressing plans. It sounded like a good opportunity. Where is it? Seaside, below the Indigo Plateau, Oak answered with a smile. Sea battles, then, Ash said. I'll go swap out my Pokémon. Since they were headed to the coast, Ash brought his water and sea-ready team, Pikachu, Eevee, Marsho, Celebi, Lucario, Blastoise, Kingler, Feraligatr, Crawdaunt, Swampert, Melodic, Swellow, and Gardevoir. After the celebration banquet, Xiaoyao and Xiaoshun said their goodbyes. After Kanto, Xiaoshun and the others planned to head to Chengdu to take part in the Chengdu Gorgeous competition. Xiaogang watched Xiaoshun's retreating back and smiled. I wonder what kind of coordination he'll show next time we meet. I'm really looking forward to it. Xiaogang also knew that meeting again with Ash and Xiaoshun would likely depend on fate, while Xiaoyao quietly resolved something for herself. Ash stood with Xiaogang and the others and grinned. Are you guys really coming with me? Of course, Xiaoyao said, smiling. She knew this would be their last trip together and wanted to see it through. Delia smiled too. Well then, Ash, Professor Oak and I will head back now. Xiaoyao, you're welcome to visit Pallet Town anytime. Yes, they called. Delia returned to Pallet Town with Ash's Ribbon Cup and Frontier Pass. As everyone headed toward the rendezvous, a fight had already broken out at sea, Rangers versus a band of pirates. The trouble began with a strange Pokémon egg floating among the water, different from the clear ones Ash and his friends knew. It was being carried by water-type Pokémon when a giant submarine surged from the depths and seized the egg. The submarine belonged to none other than the pirate captain. This egg will help me fulfill my ambition, the captain muttered, eyeing it greedily. Just you wait, Sea Crown. Suddenly the egg vanished from the captain's view. In its place stood a blond man dressed like one of the captain's crew, clutching the egg. What are you doing? The captain roared. I won't let you use this as a tool for your schemes, the blond man snapped, deftly evading the crew's attacks as he slipped along a pre-planned escape route. He hit a communicator on the way. This is Jack. Headquarters, respond. I've got the egg, Jack called as he found himself surrounded by the pirate crew. The captain had clearly been waiting. He even sent out Pinsir and Parasect to stop Jack. From the auras radiating off the two Pokémon, they were powerful, more than the Rangers had expected, which was why the Ranger Union had asked for Ash's help. Jack was skilled, though. Seizing an opening, he used his capture styler to nab a Mantine and made his getaway. Ash's group descended from the Indigo Plateau and followed the directions to a stretch of wilderness. The heat made everyone thirsty. Princess, I'm so thirsty. Give me some water, Xiaosheng begged Xiaoyao. Supplies were running low, and water was being used up fast. Just as their reserves were about to run dry, several large spheres of water appeared, suspended in the air. Faces lit up all around. Xiaosheng sprinted forward and peered in. Inside the bubbles swam water-type Pokémon, Goldeen, Gorbis, Dugong, and in the center stood a beautiful performer with a Politoad at her side. "Miss, can I have some water, please?" the parched Xiaosheng asked. "Of course," the woman replied gently. Xiaosheng cheered and reached out to poke one of the orbs. A startled Gorbis lunged and knocked him down. Ash and the others arrived at that moment. The woman looked up. "Excuse me, who are you?" she asked. They introduced themselves. Pikachu and Eevee greeted a nearby Metatite and Metacam. Two Poliwags sprayed water gun, and under the Metatite and Metacam's psychic influence, the sprays formed images resembling Pikachu and Eevee, clear proof that those suspended water spheres were their handiwork. Ash recognized the performer immediately. If nothing had changed, this had to be the designated rendezvous point, the small pier circus. They had been planning to meet in the town ahead, but had bumped into each other halfway. Ash realized he'd seen the woman's photo before. Xiao Gang, excited, confirmed by looking at the equipment around them. "You must be the small pier circus that performs underwater Pokémon shows, right?" Xiao Gang exclaimed. "Small pier circus?" Xiao Yao echoed. "Is that? My name is Xiao Gang, and I know a lot about the small pier circus," he went on, beaming. "In my ranking, the top female star is Miss Guangmei." Thanks to Xiao Gang's enthusiasm and the picture book of performers he pulled from his bag, Ash knew exactly who she was. Xiao Gang flipped to a page and pointed to a performance photo of Miss Guangmei. "Look, she's ranked so high. I can't believe I'm meeting you here. Please, shake my hand. Maybe we can go on a date. Please let me be with your Pokémon." Ash silently gave Xiao Gang a thumbs up. Brave move. Xiao Sheng stepped in and gently led the embarrassed Xiao Gang away. "Hello, Miss Guangmei," Ash said. "Is Ranger Jack here?" Miss Guangmei's eyes brightened at the question. It looked like Jack was who she was waiting for, too. "I'm sorry. Jack will be here soon. You can rest here for now. I didn't expect we'd meet halfway." To be continued. Chapter 196, The Legend of the Water People. Xiaoji's group had been invited into Guangmei's family home and were warmly welcomed. After a few cups of the sweet spring water they offered, everyone felt refreshed. Ash and the others were even more surprised to spot a Buizel. Though it wasn't part of the circus acts, it was happily fooling around with Xiao Sheng. "Hello, everyone. You must be Officer Xiaoji," a clown called as he strode in. "You are? Jack?" Ash asked uncertainly. "That's right." The man removed his wig to reveal short blonde hair. "Nice to meet you. I'm Jack Walker. Pleasure to meet you all." "I'm Ash from Pallet Town. Nice to meet you," Ash said, shaking Jack's hand. At that moment, the Buizel leapt onto a shelf where a modified incubator box sat. The exterior hid whatever was inside, but when the Pokémon pressed the switch, a crystal-clear egg materialized before them. Jack groaned and reached to stop it, but he was a moment too late. "That is," Xiao Yao stepped forward, captivated by the translucent egg. "Is this the mission objective?" Ash asked, focusing with his aura. He could feel a strong, peculiar energy coming from the egg. Jack nodded. "Yes, this is the egg of the mythical Pokémon Manaphy." "I've heard of it. Doesn't it migrate through the ocean?" Xiao Sheng said, surprisingly knowledgeable. "That's right," Jack continued. "Our mission is to hatch this Manaphy egg and escort it to the sea shrine, Akusha." Everyone nodded. Jack added a warning. "There are pirates out searching for the Manaphy. Be careful not to reveal anything." "Pirates?" The group reacted in astonishment. After that, Guangmei's family escorted them to the town where they were due to meet the rest of the crew and invited them to enjoy the circus. The performance was thrilling and full of ideas. Ash and Xiao Yao, both coordinators, found a lot of inspiration in the acts. During the show, the Buizel quietly slipped away and took the Manaphy egg again. Ash and Jack noticed just in time and recovered it, but the Team Rocket trio, hiding in the shadows, had seen enough to decide to steal the egg. Kojiro even made an anonymous tip to collect the bounty later, the trio whispering about it while scheming. That night, exhausted from the long journey, Ash and the others slept soundly. A dozing Buizel woke and padded to the window where the egg had been left. It pressed the switch and the crystal-clear egg glowed again. Moonlight filtered through it and painted Xiao Yao's face. Suddenly, the egg shone with a brilliant red light. Xiao Yao drifted into a dream. A pink sea spread before her, filled with countless water-type Pokémon gliding through the waves. She followed them to a distant shrine. A flash of light and a shadowy figure, its shape only just visible, flickered beside her, softly calling, "Mana, Mana." Then the shadow rushed toward the shrine. "Wait!" Xiaoyao cried, but a burst of bubbles cut her off. When she opened her eyes, morning had already come. Over breakfast, with warm scones in hand, Xiaoyao told everyone, "I had a strange dream last night." "A dream?" someone asked. "Yes. A Pokemon I'd never seen before swam toward a sea building that looked like a shrine. I wanted to follow it." Guangmei's family exchanged looks and all turned to Karina's grandfather, Sipu. He sighed with a tired smile. The world really is full of wonders. "Xiaoyao," Sipu's wife Malam asked softly, "have you ever heard of the water people?" Xiaoyao shook her head. Sipu explained, "We can tell you. Since you're here to help escort the egg, you're our allies. No need to hide it." Guangmei spoke up, eyes thoughtful. "I once had the same dream." "Ah?" Xiaoyao's surprise was immediate. "We are descended from a people who used to be called the Water People," Guangmei said. "Their numbers are much smaller now, but in the past they traveled along waters and lived alongside water-type Pokemon. Out of gratitude for the sea's bounty and respect for the Pokemon, they built shrines to commune with them." She looked at Xiaoyao. "What you saw in your dream must have been one of those shrines." Malam added quietly, "The water people always dream of the shrine. Memories encoded in DNA?" Xiao Gang exclaimed in awe. "Wow, that's incredible. So Princess might be a descendant of the water people?" Xiao Sheng piped up, his imagination racing. "Then maybe I am too." He beamed at the idea of being part of such a mysterious lineage. "Oh, no!" Ash suddenly jumped up. "Someone stole the egg." "What?" Jack, back in his ranger uniform, sprinted for the RV. The rest followed and found two people and a Meowth with blue pupils inside, holding the Manaphy egg. "Who are you?" Jack demanded. "Team Rocket?" Xiaoyao exclaimed. Seeing the egg in their hands, she snapped. "Team Rocket, hand it over." "I heard someone say hand it over," Musashi squealed. Only the noises were strangely mixed up. "From beyond the horizon," Kojiro added, their motto tumbling out in the wrong order. "From beyond the Big Bang," Meowth chimed in. "A voice called and led us here," Musashi went on. "You've been waiting for us, meow," Meowth announced, but their usual dramatic pose came out garbled. Everyone, even the trio themselves, stared at them with bewildered black lines of confusion rolling down their faces. "Something's off," Musashi muttered. "Well, they'd managed to grab the treasure, so let's get out of here, meow," Kojiro urged. At that moment, blue light flashed in Ash's eyes. The Manaphy egg floated out of Team Rocket's grip and drifted into Ash's hand. He gave a satisfied nod. His psychic ability had worked. Team Rocket stared in confusion, their plan undone. Pikachu didn't waste time. A single thunderbolt sent the three blasting off as usual. "That was a bad feeling," the trio cried as they flew away. "Did you see that?" Jack asked, perplexed. "How did the egg float back on its own?" "That's Ash's psychic power," Xiaoyao explained with a smile. Ash had already told the group about awakening this new ability, and everyone had been a little envious when they learned he'd gained another skill. Jack merely nodded. With a world as vast and strange as theirs, psychic abilities were not unheard of. From a distance, the whir of propellers drifted through the air. Everyone turned to see a large number of flying devices approaching on the horizon. To be continued. Chapter 197, Defeat the Pirates, The Birth of Manaphy. After leaving the town, the group plunged into the jungle, but they were unexpectedly pursued. From the lead airship, the pirate captain's first mate spotted the Pokemon egg in Ash's arms through a telescope and barked in a deep voice, "Target confirmed." The chateau perched on the captain's shoulder echoed, "Confirmed." Suddenly, two Beedrill darted out from the airship. Ash sneered, "Swellow, air cutter." "With you." Swellow appeared in an instant, and countless wind blades sliced toward the Beedrill. Both attackers were sent spiraling down. The pirate captain, a bold man known as Captain Drulb, wasn't deterred. Seeing his Beedrill fall, he leapt from the airship and threw two Pokeballs. Pinsir and Parasect burst out. "I choose you, Gardevoir," Ash called. "Gardevoir," Gardevoir answered, joining Swellow in the air. "Mystical Fire, Aerial Ace." Gardevoir's hand raised gracefully as several mystic flames materialized and swirled around Pinsir and Parasect. Captain Drulb barked orders. "Pinsir, Stone Edge. Parasect, Cross Poison." Pinsir sent a huge rock tumbling forward that scattered the mystic flames, while Parasect leapt and unleashed a purple poison slash at Swellow. The two collided with a thunderous boom. Psychic! Ash cried. Gardevoir released a surge of psychic power that gripped Pinsir and pushed it off balance. The remaining mystic flames whipped into a concentrated blaze, instantly engulfing Pinsir. Steel Wing! Swellow struck Parasect with a sharp wing attack and knocked it out. Ghost, surrender! Jack shouted, seeing the tide turn. Captain Drolb only sneered. Is that so? He muttered. But then a fleet of airships poured out from the trees and surrounded Ash and the others. Xiao Gang and Xiao Yao calmly stepped to Ash's side, ready to fight. What a show! Come at us then! Ash didn't hesitate. He sent out his full team of 6 water-type Pokémon. Hydro Pump, Pikachu Thunderbolt. Ash's 6 water types formed a protective ring and unleashed a barrage of hydro pumps while Pikachu fired a thunderbolt into the seething water. The combined force, a torrent of electrically charged water, struck the pirate fleet. After a few devastating hits, countless airships were blasted apart. Captain Drolb's expression went pale. The enemy's strength was far greater than he'd expected. Deciding discretion was the better part of valor, he snapped orders to his first mate and scrambled back into the largest airship. Without a backward glance, he fled. Jack breathed a sigh of relief. As expected of you, Ash, it was definitely right to ask for your help. Before, when they'd run into pirates, all they could do was flee. The more that happened, the more arrogant the pirates became. But now Ash had driven them off alone. With the pursuers gone, the group's mission was half complete. They had to escort the egg safely across the sea to the sea shrine, Atla. Captain Drolb might return, but with Ash here, an open, forceful takeover was unlikely. Ash, can I hold the egg? Xiao Yao asked, eyes fixed on the soft blue shell. Now that the crisis was over, she felt an irresistible pull toward it. Of course. Ash smiled and handed the egg to her. The moment the crystal-clear egg sat in Xiao Yao's hands, a soft red glow pulsed from inside the incubator. It's hatching, Xiao Yao, take it out, Ash urged. Ah, yes. Xiao Yao quickly cradled the egg. It burst with brilliant white light, grew slightly larger in her arms, and 2 small antennae unfurled from its head. The tiny Pokémon inside emerged. Manaphy. Entirely aqua blue with large, adorable eyes, it was impossibly cute. The first living face Manaphy saw was Xiao Yao's. It immediately began to cry. Mana! Mana! Xiao Yao rocked it gently and crooned until the little one calmed. From a GS ball nearby, Celebi emerged, buzzing happily around Manaphy as if celebrating the birth. Even Marshadow, lurking in Ash's shadow, watched intently. Mythical Pokémon were extremely rare sights. Celebi. Guangmei's family gasped. They hadn't expected the young officer to have a Celebi as well. Manaphy was delighted by the new friend and gurgled happily. Back at the RV, the 2 mythical Pokémon played until Manaphy grew tired and fell into a deep sleep in Xiao Yao's arms. Miriam, Guangmei's mother, tried to hold Manaphy gently, but the baby burst into tears until Xiao Yao took it back. Only then did Manaphy settle. With Xiao Yao cradling the newborn, the group resumed their journey by car. As descendants of the Water People, Guangmei's family still kept records about the Sea Shrine. Following their guidance, the group drove to an ancient ruin where an underground passage lay hidden. Sipu produced a bracelet that identified him as one of the Water People. At once, a secret door in the ruins slid open. Everyone, prepare a water-type Pokémon, he warned. They'd already seen Ash's powerful 6 water types, so there was no shortage. Guangmei's family took the lead, and the group entered the hidden door. Down a flight of stairs, a watery passage led onward. I choose you, Blastoise, Ash called, hopping onto his Blastoise. Xiao Yao climbed aboard Squirtle. Xiao Gang sent out his Marshtomp, and Xiao Sheng, who'd gotten along well with Bwizzle, grabbed a ride. Meanwhile, Manaphy swam happily around Xiao Yao. They traveled the waterway until they reached a dimly lit hall. Letting their water Pokémon play in the pool, the group climbed into the main chamber. Guangmei pressed a switch on a stone pillar, and the entire hall flooded with light. Murals painted on the ceiling caught everyone's attention. Xiao Yao craned her neck to look. The murals depicted the sea shrine and, in the center, a golden crown. It was exactly as she had seen in her dream. The sea shrine. Atla, Guangmei said reverently. Atla is sacred to the Water People. Inside it, there's a secret treasure called the Sea Crown. Long ago, many thieves tried to steal it, so the Water People designed a mechanism to protect the shrine. What kind of mechanism? Xiaosheng asked. It makes the shrine invisible to the naked eye, Guang Mei explained. Xiao Yao looked puzzled. Not invisible in the usual sense. It blends the shrine with the color of the sea and makes it float, so the shrine drifts across the ocean. No one can find it by ordinary means. How could anyone ever see it again? Ash asked. Only during a total lunar eclipse, Guang Mei said. Legend says that then, the water people hold a festival to offer thanks to the water-type Pokémon, and the shrine can be seen with the naked eye. A shrine drifting on the sea, Ash murmured, looking out at the dark water beyond the hall. To be continued. Chapter 198. Find the Temple of the Sea and return on a dragon. Since the shrine is hidden in the sea and can't be seen, how do we get there? Xiao Gang asked, the question everyone was thinking. Manaphy can take us, Guang Mei replied with a smile. The water people built the sea shrine where Manaphy was meant to live. Even after the shrine began to drift, a Manaphy hatched from an egg still has an instinct to migrate back to it. For Manaphy, the shrine is like its hometown. Xiao Yao understood immediately. As long as Manaphy was with them, the sea shrine could be found. No wonder the ghost captain had captured Manaphy. He was after the legendary sea crown. Right now, the ghost captain was outside the ruins using high-tech scanners. He had discovered the ruins were interconnected and couldn't locate Ash and the others, so he had decided to head out to sea. Anyone looking for the sea shrine would eventually take to the ocean, and the sea was the ghost captain's pirate territory. Ash's group recalled their Pokémon, rowed 2 small boats through a waterway, and arrived at a coastal town. Manaphy, exhausted from playing, fell fast asleep in Xiao Yao's arms. After all, it was still a newborn. At the town dock, they boarded a large ship belonging to Sipu. Sipu pointed proudly at the vessel. This is my ship, the Blue Coral Reef. When I was young, I traveled all over the world on her. They set sail into the open sea. When Manaphy woke up, the first thing it did was telepathically speak to Xiao Yao. Perhaps, Manaphy said. Everyone gathered around, surprised. Xiao Yao beamed. Manaphy just spoke. It said perhaps. It's telepathy, Ash said, surprised in his own way. He activated his Viridian power and stroked Manaphy's head. The little prince of the sea leaned into the gentle aura, rubbing against Ash's hand in contentment. Perhaps, Manaphy repeated, nestling against Xiao Yao. Are you calling me? You're so cute. Xiao Yao laughed, hugging it. Once they were well out at sea, the decision was made. Xiao Yao should put Manaphy into the ocean and let it lead them. As the prince of the sea, Manaphy belonged in the water, and its instincts would guide them to the shrine. We'll protect it from the side, Jack said firmly. Xiao Yao nodded and set Manaphy gently into the waves. Manaphy became a fish in water, darting, twirling, and swimming with joyful purpose. Ash released his 6 water-type Pokémon in return. With them on guard, it would be much harder for the ghost captain to make a sneak attack. Down on the ship's bottom deck, they watched the ocean through large windows. Schools of marine Pokémon flowed by, and they could make out Manaphy's small form and Blastoise moving through the blue. At one point, Manaphy swam straight toward the glass to greet Xiao Yao and bumped it hard enough to make her startle. Seeing the little creature's face crumple in pain, Xiao Yao pressed her hand to the glass and soothed it. Hearing her voice, Manaphy stopped crying and swam around happily, using its instinct to sense the sea shrine's direction. It travels alone across the vast sea, returning toward its old habitat, the sea shrine, Guang Mei murmured. As dusk fell, Manaphy returned to the ship and curled up under Xiao Yao's care. On the deck, Guang Mei, Sipu, Karina's grandfather, and Kai, Karina's father, stood watching the moon climb into the sky. The total lunar eclipse is coming, Sipu said. If the timing's right, maybe we'll have a chance to see the shrine. Maybe we'll receive the sea's blessing, like the water people did long ago, Kai added, eyes shining. The next day, Manaphy swam freely while Jack patrolled the skies on a hang glider. A pod of Wailords surfaced nearby and began following the ship. Manaphy happily rode on the back of one of them. That night, Xiao Yao and Manaphy slept in the same bunk, and the little prince learned a new word, like, which it used with delighted emphasis. Another day, a herd of Lapras approached. Pikachu squealed and pointed at the leader. Pika Pika! He cried. Ash peered and then called out, Hey, Lapras! The Lapras leader spotted Ash and cried out in return. Ash sprang down, Pikachu tucked safely in his arms, and the jumping Ash landed squarely onto Lapras's back. Xiao Yao's exclamation echoed across the deck. Lapras wrapped its flippers around Ash and swam, carrying him as if no time had passed. "So it was Ash's Lapras!" Xiao Gang said, realization dawning. Eevee looked on, exasperated that his trainer had apparently abandoned him for a big sea ride. "Ash has a Lapras?" Xiao Yao asked in surprise. Xiao Gang nodded. "He caught it back in the Orange Islands. I wasn't traveling with him then, though I think he released it back to its herd." He hesitated, clearing his throat awkwardly. "Cough. Yeah, he let it return to its family, and I only saw it once." Ash laughed when Lapras surfaced near the ship, and Pikachu hopped up onto the Lapras' head, chittering happily. The Lapras' parents soon gathered, and it was clear they had always watched fondly as their child spent time with humans. Now the young Lapras had to choose its own path. After some guidance from its elders, the leader's expression hardened with resolve. It accepted a new future. Resigning its leadership of the herd, it swam toward the direction Ash had left. The Lapras herd shadowed it, watching quietly. Ash stood on the deck, stunned, as Lapras climbed aboard. "Have you decided?" he asked. Lapras nodded. "Welcome back," Ash said with a grin. He threw a Pokeball, and Lapras returned willingly. Their little convoy continued across the sea, Manaphy leading the way under a sky that would soon darken with the eclipse, each step bringing them closer to the hidden shrine and the mysteries beneath the waves. To be continued. Chapter 199, Sea Temple. Defeat the pirates. Attribute Ice, Water. Ability Water Midstage. Moves Psybeam, Hydro Pump, Water Pulse, Blizzard. With that, Lapras was successfully returned to Ash's team. Ash paused for a moment, then sent Gardevoir back into its Pokeball. That night, Jack found Ash and spoke in a low voice. "Ash, I need to ask a favor." "What is it?" "I want you to help keep Xiao Yao and Manaphy from getting too close. The deeper their feelings grow, the harder it will be when they have to part." Jack's concern was plain. "You don't need to worry about that," Ash replied with a smile. "Xiao Yao has become an independent trainer. Meeting, getting to know each other, and parting, that's what traveling is about. I believe in Xiao Yao." He glanced down the corridor and called, "Right, Xiao Yao?" "Huh?" Xiao Yao had appeared as if from nowhere. She nodded firmly at Ash's words. "No problem." Ash grinned and added, "And as a mythical Pokemon and Prince of the Sea, Manaphy won't shirk its duties either." Jack nodded and said no more. After several days at sea, Manaphy finally signaled that the sea shrine was near. The group landed on a small, uninhabited island and paused. Guangmei put Jack and Xiaozhi's team into a small submersible to search for the shrine. At that moment, the long-awaited total lunar eclipse began. The moon was blotted out, and a bright red halo spread across the night sky. Beneath the sea, a cone-shaped structure rose into view. Guangmei's family wept with joy. This was proof of their water people's faith. Xiaozhi's group entered the sea shrine and were astonished to find air inside despite being underwater. The building gleamed with majesty. The ancestral techniques of the water people were truly incredible. Boom! A massive cannonball slammed into the sea shrine's barrier. A gigantic submarine appeared, its bow larger than even the biggest Wailord. From its deck, a voice called out, "In this world, men are of two kinds, those fit for treasure and those who are not. I, this great master, am precisely the man fit to take the sea crown." Ha! "Crown? Crown!" The chateau on his shoulder mimicked without pause. Ghost Captain laughed inside the sub. Having seen Ash's strength, he dared not face him head-on, so he brought out his ultimate weapon. He had intended to use it only as a last resort, fearing the sea crown might be destroyed if the shrine was ruined, but this was his chance. He could not hesitate. "Ash, what should we do?" Xiao Yao asked nervously, clutching Manaphy. "Then let's handle it. Go, everyone." Ash didn't hesitate. He sent out his 6 water-type Pokemon. They burst through the shrine's barrier and confronted the submarine. Everyone noticed something funny. Blastoise was wearing sunglasses. "Mega Evolution!" Ash shouted. At once, Blastoise, Swampert, and Melodic began to Mega Evolve. Ability Mega Launcher increases the power of Pulse and Aura-based moves. Strength Quasi-Heavenly King, initial stage. Super Swampert. Ability Grass Pelt. Strength Mega Melodic. Ability Pixelate. Strength Gym mid-stage. "Ram them," Ghost Captain ordered. The giant subcharged. Swampert, use arm thrust, Ash called. Crawdont, Kingler, Crabhammer. Feraligar, go all out. Melodic, Iron Tail. Blastoise, show the results of our training. Water Pulse, Dragon Pulse, and Aura Sphere. The 5 Pokémon slammed into the submarine while Super Blastoise fired 3 heavy shots from behind. With their combined force, they knocked the sub back. Everyone, now, full power Hydro Pump, Ash said, taking a Stellium Z from his belt and slotting it into his universal ring. Harmonized power activated. Blastoise, let's finish this. Ash and Super Blastoise moved in perfect sync. Ash shouted, "This is our full power Super Spiral combo." Came. Super Blastoise withdrew and began to spin rapidly, forming a massive drill. The drill, combined with 5 Titanic hydro pumps, pierced straight through the submarine's hull. Boom. The sub detonated in a violent explosion and sank into the sea. With no command needed, the team rescued the sub's crew. Jack then arrested the pirates. "Thank you so much for the help, Officer Xiaozhi," he said gratefully. Without Ash, they might still be chasing Ghost Captain. "You brat, this great master, admit defeat," Ghost Captain snarled, glaring at Ash. Had Ash not interfered, his ambition would not have been cut so short. With Ghost Captain apprehended, Xiaozhi's mission concluded successfully. Led by Guangmei and Manaphy, the group passed through the temple gate, crossed a small bridge, and stopped before a curtain of water. Manaphy sang a pure, beautiful song that made the entire shrine resonate. Guangmei's Water People token blazed with green light, and the layers of watery curtains parted. Manaphy slipped from Xiaoyao's arms and swam ahead, guiding the way through the waterway. Only when they climbed the steps did Manaphy return to Xiaoyao's embrace. They arrived at a stone platform. Etched into it was the pattern of the sea crown, but the text beneath was unfamiliar. Guangmei frowned, helpless. "I should have brought Karina's grandfather. He might have understood." "Not necessarily," Ash said with a smile, nodding toward the bound Ghost Captain. "Isn't there someone here who can translate? Do you really think I, this great master, will translate for you?" Ghost Captain sneered. "I think you will. Don't you want to see the sea crown?" Ash replied, smiling. "As a favor for helping, I'll let you take a look." "This is a Water People temple. Can a pirate really understand it?" Guangmei protested. She, a water person, could not read the inscription, yet this pirate claimed he could. Ghost Captain gave a contemptuous snort, but, under Ash's pressure, he reluctantly translated. "Beyond the door opened by the Water People's token, a crown slumbers. He who holds the sea crown shall become the true king of the sea." Guangmei understood immediately. She raised her Water People token and approached the crown symbol on the stone platform. The two resonated, bathed in green light, and the platform sank into the ground. One by one, doors opened ahead of them, revealing a long corridor. To be continued. Chapter 200, Lucario vs. Kyogre. Capture! Farewell. They walked on without hesitation, crossed the corridor, climbed the steps, and at last entered a vast hall where the sea crown revealed itself. It wasn't a crown at all, as everyone had imagined, but a stone platform inlaid with sky-blue crystals. "I finally see it, the sea crown," the Ghost Captain sighed. He knew he couldn't claim it now, but he had at least seen the relic he had pursued his whole life. "Mana?" Manaphy chirped joyfully as it hopped onto the stone platform. A golden light shot up into the sky. At that instant, the sea shrine burst from the water and reappeared in the world. Countless water-type Pokémon seemed to have been summoned, surging toward the place. "Mana!" Manaphy smiled at Ash. It knew it had arrived safely, thanks to his protection. The golden light from the sea crown enveloped Ash, and the Pokeballs at his belt began to absorb the blessing of the sea. Each Pokemon's power rose to the next level. Ding! Obtained Sea's blessing. Completed task. Prince of the Sea. Reward, Sea Force. Sea Force. When Sea Force is activated, wherever there is water, the wielder becomes the Sea King, able to command thousands of water-type Pokémon. Friendship with water-type Pokémon increases by 50%, and the wielder can breathe underwater. After giving Ash the blessing, Manaphy spread the golden light to the others. Everyone plunged into the sea as if propelled by Aquajet, swimming freely among the water Pokémon. Manaphy eagerly led them through the ocean, getting them close to the gathered water types. A massive, blue, big-headed whale Pokémon rose before them. "Kyogre?" Everyone gasped, stunned that Manaphy would summon the overlord of the seas itself. Ash's eyes lit up. He still had a blue orb he hadn't used. Now Kyogre had come to him. Type Water? Ability? Strength? Early Legendary. Moves: Origin Pulse, Hydro Pump, Psybeam, Ancient Power. Ash activated Sea Force and entered the Sea King state. A golden crown of Sea Force condensed above his head. He felt authoritative, like he could become a sea god with nothing more than a trident. He held up the blue orb. It pulsed with blue light as if calling to Kyogre. Kyogre answered the pull, and with Ash in the Sea King state, Manaphy happily circled him. Xiaoyao looked at Ash with the crown and felt he'd never looked more like a prince. "So handsome," she breathed. "This is the true Sea King," Guangmei exclaimed. "Kyogre, capture battle!" Ash shouted, holding the blue orb. Challenging Kyogre while in Sea King form, he meant to prove he could command the legendary. Jack and Guangmei drew sharp breaths. Ash was actually challenging the overlord of the ocean, a genuine legendary Pokémon. Xiaoyao and the others weren't surprised. Ash had already captured Rayquaza and Groudon. Finishing the Hoenn trio with Kyogre seemed inevitable. Jack, Guangmei, and Xiaoyao hastened back to the Sea Shrine to watch the unprecedented capture. Kyogre and Ash surfaced. With Sea Force helping him, Ash stood on the water as easily as on land. He drew the champion's wand and called, "I'm counting on you this time, Lucario." "Yes," Lucario answered. Empowered by Sea Force, it locked eyes with Kyogre while standing on the ocean's surface. "Show our bond. Mega Evolution," Ash cried, activating the Universal Ring. A blazing stone light appeared on Lucario's chest. The genetic link sparked, and Ash felt their auras fuse. Light flared as Lucario transformed into its new divine form. Super Roaring. Ability, Adaptability. Strength, Early Legendary. Kyogre thundered back in reply, prompting a sudden downpour as its Drizzle ability activated. Super Roaring unleashed its aura. The allied auras met, and the clash sent towering waves racing across the sea. Even the spectators clicked their tongues in awe. The mere collision of power was astonishing. "Bone Rush!" Super Roaring roared. 2 bone clubs sprang into its hands and fused into a single bone staff. It stepped atop the water and charged to strike Kyogre. Kyogre bellowed, and a jagged thunderbolt cleaved from the stormy sky. Super Roaring spun its staff, deflecting and scattering the lightning. "Comet Punch!" It followed up with a barrage from its iron fist, hammering Kyogre and forcing the legendary to crash into the sea, sending up monumental waves. Kyogre focused, condensing a giant water sphere that burst into several smaller blue orbs. The orbs opened fire with blue-white beams, Origin Pulse, Kyogre's signature, devastating in force. Ash stayed calm. Extreme Speed, and charged the Aura Sphere. Super Roaring flashed like a white streak, weaving through the Origin Pulse strikes. The pulses smashed into the sea and erupted into towering pillars of water. Super Roaring slipped past them and channeled Ash's aura. The aura sphere swelled to many times its usual size as Ash poured his energy into it. "Lucario, use everything," Ash shouted. Together they released the massive aura sphere. The attack struck Kyogre and detonated in a blinding explosion that swallowed the Sea Titan. As the smoke cleared and Kyogre reappeared, Ash seized his chance. He hurled the heavy ball without hesitation. The ball shook, and then the click that made Ash grin. Capture successful. He took the heavy ball, paused a beat, and then recalled Melodic. By dusk, the Sea Shrine's protective barrier opened and slowly sank back beneath the waves. Wingull wheeled overhead in a respectful farewell. "I wonder if we'll ever meet again," Xiaosheng said, wistful. "We will," Guangmei replied firmly. "We'll definitely meet again." Jack picked up his capture styler and reported, "This is Jack Walker. Mission accomplished." Watching the shrine disappear, Xiaoyao felt a tug at her heart. "Manaphy," she called softly. At once, a small figure leaped from the calm sea. "Ma!" Manaphy bounded forward. Xiaoyao rushed to the bow of the ship, and Manaphy dove into her arms. "Mana, like it," squealed. Xiaoyao hugged it tight. "You must protect your companions, and don't forget me." "Mana," Manaphy nodded, then solemnly added, "Xiao, Yao." Tears sprang to Xiaoyao's eyes, but she smiled through them. "Goodbye, Manaphy." "Goodbye, Xiaoyao. Goodbye." Manaphy returned the smile bravely, then leapt back into the ocean to resume its duty. Jack turned to Ash. "The Rangers and the League will give you a proper reward for this. Thank you for your help." Guangmei's family arranged for Xiaozhi's group to travel to a nearby town. At parting, Guangmei gave Xiao Yao a bracelet as a memento from the Water People. To be continued.